And he jolts that one out to deep left field. You can forget that. That ball's long gone. An absolute no-doubter from Pete Alonso. His 31st of the year is a 3-run blast. Encarnacion Strand. That is a moon shot. Take it to the river. Deep out of here. A titanic blast on the banks of the Mississippi. 450 feet from Christian Encarnacion Strand. That smoke to the count. Right center field, down for a base hit. Cut off before the warning track. Franklin can fly. He's in to score. It's an RBI double for Dylan Beavers. He's now knocked in a couple of runs tonight. It's a Baker's dozen on the board.
First and third, nobody out. 3 out of the 5 innings he pitched, right? So that made it difficult on him. So he put himself in positions at times that weren't very favorable. Was able to pitch out of some of it with the 4 punch-outs first time through, 3 punch-outs second time through. But overall, just there was some really loud contact as well.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. You've got BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. That audio courtesy of Cardinals TV for the post-game sound, plus the Orioles TV network. Boy, was that a Matthew Liberatore start if I've ever seen one.
Shout out to you if you made it to the post-game.
Oh, boy. 4 hits, 4 runs in the 3rd inning, 3 singles and a walk. Did not record an out in the 5th. Left allowing 5 earned runs while the bases were still loaded and no outs for the bullpen.
Good news is he got the 90-plus pitches.
They did not get quality or efficiency. He was neither effective nor efficient in that game for the Cardinals.
That's quality, right?
It was ugly, Alex. And in a time where they need innings in a desperate way, he was not able to provide them for the Cardinals. What'd you see from Matthew Liberatore, who, let's be real, he was a story of the night for the Cardinals once again yesterday.
I think the body language by Ollie when he had to walk out to the mound in the 5th to take Liberatore out of the game told you everything you needed to know. It was the body language of, I can't believe we're having to do this right now. Like, this bullpen is fried. And the fact that you had to go to Strzelecki and Caleb Ferguson just to get you through 2 innings told you everything where this team is at right now. I mean, look, I'll give Matthew Liberatore credit because when he was challenged for how bad he had been pitching, 3 of his next 4 starts were really good. One of them was against the Chicago Cubs, which I didn't expect. And after the Red start, I'm like, damn, maybe he's turning the corner. Maybe he's figuring it out, because that one he gave him 6. He had 9 strikeouts. He went 100 pitches. And I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe they finally got it. And it's like it always finds a way to blow up for Matthew Liberatore. This, to me, tells me more about just who Libby is, to where every 3rd or 4th start, you're going to have a game where he's not going to give you more than 4. He's going to blow up for 5 to 8 runs. He's going to give you some strikeouts that make you want to dream on, but he's not the proficient pitcher that you need in a 162 season. And that's the part for me that every time those games happen, just like the Colorado Rockies game happened, I look at it and say, as much as you'd like to dream on the swing and miss, he's a bullpen arm, because you just can't rely on him every 5th day to give you 5 guaranteed innings to be competitive.
In his last 8 starts, he's gone 41 innings and has 50 strikeouts.
All right.
That's real. Like, that is the stuff you're dreaming on that you're talking about, Alex. The Cardinals will tell you his stuff models well. When you look at it behind the scenes, it's like, hey, man, there should be better results for this, and there's just not. It reminds me of the Verhagen conversation, where you'd look at the stuff. He would throw against air, and you're like, yeah, I get it. I understand. It's big velo, a big breaking ball. This should work coming out of the bullpen. And then you'd watch him against live hitters, and it did not work, and it never worked. And for whatever reason, the modeling, maybe it's a tell that he's giving. I don't know what it was, but it was something about the way that his stuff played against hitters where they could see it well, they hit it hard, and it goes a long way the other direction. The same thing is true for Matthew Liberatore. And I think, and I got to give credit to Kyle Reese for this, he's been talking about this previously. Matthew Liberatore, for those starts that you were discussing, Alex, he did something different. He basically ditched his fastball. He said, this fastball is terrible. I'm not throwing it anymore. And it changed the way that he pitched. And it allowed him to be more effective for a couple of starts. Here's the problem. Eventually, you have to use your fastball, even if it's as a jab, because opposing hitters will adjust to you. For a couple of games, you can catch them kind of a little flat-footed, where they're not prepared for the way that you're pitching because this is going against the scouting report. But eventually the scouting report will show what you're doing. And they will say, all right, I'm not going to go ahead and chase that breaking ball, or I'm not going to allow you to get ahead with your changeup. Whatever the pitch is that you're using today, I'm not allowing it. You're going to eventually have to come back into the zone, and you're going to have to use your fastball. And when you do, I'm going to bleep and crush it. And guess what? They crush it.
Yeah, it's what the
Dodgers... fastball's terrible. It does not play as a starter. It's not a capable big league starting pitcher fastball.
It's what the Dodgers have done so well at the plate with their approach the last couple of years. It's like, you can pitch around me all you want. You're going to have to go into the strike zone at some point, and I'm going to murder that baseball when it does. And last night, whether it was Jackson Holliday, whether it was Pete Alonso, every time he went into the zone, it was gone immediately. Like, you knew it was hard hit. You knew it was dropping. I just don't know what more you're asking for. And I saw somebody mention that, Ollie said on KMOX yesterday that we're going to keep pitching them. Well, you're damn right you're going to keep pitching them. You have nobody else. This is not we're in the wild card race anymore and we have to keep pitching them because we think something's coming. This is we don't have arms anymore, so we're going to keep throwing him out there until we end this season.
So let's grab that Ollie quote. He was on KMOX yesterday doing his weekly Tuesday appearance with them. And he did talk about the Matthew Liberatore spot in the rotation and how the plan was always for him to get a full runway this year as a starter. Now that is even more so the case. Take a listen.
Libby has to stay in the rotation throughout this entire process. Like, that is the runway that we've talked about from the beginning. So with injuries, that's even more so now as far as needing innings. But for him, to answer your question specifically, is limiting the crooked number, because that's what gets him. Is one big inning usually is what makes the difference for his outings, and figuring out a way for not allowing that to snowball and limit damage. But I am encouraged by some of the underlying stuff that we're seeing of him landing his spin and being able to do some things there. But we do have a lot of room and a lot of work to still be done there.
I saw a lot of people yesterday responding to my tweet about Miles Michaelis being a real option for the Cardinals. In my opinion, they have not said that, but in my opinion, he should be a live option for them at some point over the next couple of days. And they were like, yeah, you know what? Screw it. Go ahead and put him in the rotation. Take Libby out. No. That is not what I'm saying.
Yeah. You know you're bad if Cardinals Nation's turned on you and said, let's replace him with Michaelis.
Well, their point is like, hey, Libby will be better in a bullpen capacity, and at least Michaelis won't be worse. And if you look at their ERA, it's basically the same this year. So there's some truth to that. My point is you need both of them right now.
This isn't an or conversation. This is an and conversation.
I don't know what they're going to do over the next 48 hours when it comes to this rotation. Right now, they have today in place. They've got Michael McGreevy tonight against the Baltimore Orioles.
Congrats,
we know
Mike.
That.
Going 8.
One of the next 2 games, I'm not sure which, will be Quinn Matthews. The plan previously, Ollie also mentioned this yesterday on KMOX, the plan was for Quinn Matthews to be a piggyback option with Kyle Leahy. So if they didn't have injuries right now in their rotation, it would be Palante and Dobbins over the next couple of days, with Matthews and Leahy piggybacking on Saturday, so that way they could provide the innings and basically give an off day to the bullpen that day. Well, now Matthews is getting one of those 2 starts. That's going to put some wear and tear on your bullpen because you know he's going to go like 4 for you. You've got Leahy on Saturday.
He's going 4.
He's going 4, maybe 5 for you. You've got Liberatore on Sunday.
He's going
4, maybe 5 for you. At least that's what you're expecting. They can't go with the bullpen game, right? That can't be the plan.
Well, because if you want your bullpen to keel over like dead mice.
How are you getting these? Like, over the next 5 days, I know one thing, Alex. I know one thing, and that's it. The Cardinals need 45 innings out of their pitchers.
Oh, my God.
At least. As long as you don't have any extra inning games. How are you getting those 45 innings? I have no clue. I think you can write 5 of them in pen for Leahy. I think you can write 5 of them in pen for Libby. I think you can write at least 4 of them in pen for Quinn Matthews. And God, Michael McGreevy, I'm going to need 115 pitches out of you tonight. Get me through 6, even if that means 6 earned.
What's Bruce Zimmerman up to these days? Wasn't that his name?
I think he got claimed.
I think he's gone.
Well, somebody else said, we need your 150 innings you're willing to throw.
So I've basically got 20 of those 45 innings accounted for. I got 25 more that I got to figure out over the next 5 days, boys.
That's 5 innings
That's the plan. So when I say, hey, you might be able to get some of those out of Miles Michaelis, the reason that I mention that, or Zach Littell, use him as the stand-in here. I don't care what the name is at this point. Like, you might have to kind of throw one of these games just to get through in the other 4, where, like, you're giving yourself the best chance possible in 4, and you're saying, you know what, in this one, yeah, you got us. Scheduled loss. I want 6 innings from whoever that starter is that's going out there either on Thursday or Friday to give me an opportunity. You know what my fear is? I'm going to the game with Luka on Friday.
Oh.
I think I know what's happening, boys.
Bullpen game?
Bullpen game.
I might have BKO'd this one where I signed up to go see Miles Michaelis, who I want no part of, and I get to see 6 strong innings out of him with 10 earned.
Honestly, you should probably applaud that, though. That's 6 strong innings and an easy night for the bullpen.
I hate to tell you, I think you're going to see a bullpen game on that day. That's what they seem to be talking about, which I can't believe.
I can't do that, right?
I'm becoming more and more skeptical they're going to sign somebody.
No, but I wonder if they're
going to see Nolan Gorman pitch a few.
Maybe.
No, for mean.
Nah, Pajes, man. Did you see that one inning last night?
That's
Only
true.
1 hit.
Look,
that ERA's better than Libby's, I think.
It's got to suck for fans right now, especially for how exciting the first chunk of the season was. I feel like this was bound to happen at some point. And now the injuries play into it, and they've done an incredible job of keeping their pitchers healthy.
The fact that this is only the 2nd time we've arrived at this place. One time was the doubleheader with the Milwaukee Brewers. We were all mad about it, and we were annoyed and frustrated. And then the next time is now. It's pretty amazing.
This is a reminder. Once again, I think we always need those like light bulb moments. This is what a rebuild looks like.
I don't know in a rebuild if you feel this many.
Your pitching depth isn't there. Your pitching depth is not there.
You absolutely feel this.
This is what you feel like.
You must be new to this. Yeah, it is.
That was Tony. Okay, that was pretty Tony
it's also true.
Brandon.
You had Tone talking to Alex. This is what it's supposed to be like.
I'm Tone
defensive. The fact that you have only been here twice this season is remarkable, dude. It's incredible. That is the outlier. The surprise is that you're only 1 game below 500 and that we've only really been mad about their pitching plans and that they've like completely lacked options one other time this year.
Yeah.
That's the surprise. That it comes to this when you're in late August. Yeah, this is kind of the expectation. Yeah, you probably should have run into this 2 or 3 other times at a minimum over the course of the year.
The reason you're in a rebuild is the hope that in 2 years, when all of these pitchers have developed and got their innings and you feel like they're ready to go for the major leagues, you never have to live through this again. Is that you have a depth pool of 9 or 10 different pitchers that you can turn to and say, cool, we lost 2 guys. We've got 2 guys that can only give us 4. Well, let's go to the next one. That's the whole reason Chaim Bloom did what he did this past offseason of making those trades and going after Brandon Clark and going after Senja and then drafting the amount of pitchers that they focused in on. Like, you're doing that so that you never have to live through this again. So, like, when these moments happen, just like it happened when the offense disappeared, just like it happened when the bullpen went in flux, when they went on that stretch of nobody could throw for them, it's the reminder of, hey, this was a rebuild. And this is what it looks like. You've been lucky enough, and that sounds Tony, you've been lucky enough to not have to feel it for a majority of this season. 75% of this season, we forgot what the word rebuild is.
Correct.
And about 25% of it, yeah, this was supposed to look like it all season.
T-Bone, I understand that sounded Tony. It was Tony, and it was meant to be. Like, this is us eating our vegetables.
It wasn't to you. It was to the listeners.
No, it was to everybody.
Yeah,
screw you, Tanner.
It was to Tanner, because I think a lot of us, Alex is right, forgot about what this was supposed to be. We talked going into the trade deadline of do they buy, do they sell, do they go somewhere in the middle? And Derek would come on with us each Tuesday, and he's like, guys, I don't really know how else to say this other than to tell you they're going to sell. They were always going to sell. This is the plan. And Dustin May's not going to be here once we get to like August 4th. It's not happening. He's going to be traded to the highest bidder, and it will be for more than whatever the second round comp pick would have been. Like, that was the plan the moment that they signed him. It remains the plan today. This is what it was supposed to look like. And it sucks that they ran into some injuries. The fact that they've only had 2 real injuries in their rotation, and one of them is Andre Palante, who literally is going to miss like 2 turns. This is not a thing that they're expecting to be a problem for them once they get into mid-September. Once they get there and Palante's back, you should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like 1 to 2 turns through the rotation where you're scrambling to pick up these innings, and you're basically all hands on deck to be able to accumulate them right now. And so that's why it feels so awful as you're in the midst of what we thought would be a push for the playoffs, and instead it has collapsed into something entirely different, where now I'm looking more at the MLB draft standings every day than I am the playoff standings on a day-to-day. You guys curious where we are right now?
No.
Nah, man. I mean, I don't know that it matters all that much.
Once that Philly series happened, I never really needed to look at it again. Oh, I thought you meant the standings.
No,
the draft.
Draft,
I feel like you're in the same spot too, though.
It feels feels very
You're
bluesy.
closer to a top 6 selection in the draft than you are a top 6 spot in the wild card. You're 15th right now. You're at 4.5 games back of the Washington Nationals, who are currently 6th overall in the draft. So, I mean, there's a real shot this team picks in the top 10. You're 2 games back of Minnesota, who are picking 9th.
Mm-hmm. They're in the playoff race.
Yeah, I know. This speaks to baseball in 2026, but there's a real chance this team finishes in the top 10 in the Major League Baseball draft.
And honestly, just where they're at with the health of their pitchers and how things are flowing, I kind of assumed you were going to fall into the top 10 of that. And, you got screwed this past lottery. Maybe you'll win this next lottery.
From the 6-1 hate. All those pitchers are 3 to 5 years away, Alex. You're a moron. Heim said they had a AAA stacked up, but he failed. You cowards will never call that out. Heim didn't say that.
I was going to say, all the guys they acquired were like an A-ball. So I don't really think they said that
Also,
their AAA roster was stacked.
And I said this about this time probably last year, but I feel even better about it this year. I feel pretty good about their depth by about June next year.
Yeah.
Because you got Senja, Molina, who am I forgetting that's at AAA right now? I think there's another starter.
Eventually, Roby, Jerpy.
Richard Fitz next year.
Jerpy was the name I was forgetting about. Yeah, Jerpy, Roby, when he comes
Dobbins
back.
will be back.
Doyle will be up there probably by next year.
Fitz will be back. And
Tanner Franklin.
Healthy. Like, by the time
the
you get
kid
to about
you got
June.
from the Diamondbacks. Sorry, T-Bone. We just keep naming names.
Yeah, this is what a rebuild looks like.
By
you
June,
moron.
Yeah. By June of next year, their pitching depth should be fairly good. Again, I don't know if it'll be great in terms of just the quality of innings, but there will be more bodies to throw at the problem.
If they have 2 injuries in August of next year and it looks like this, then it's a problem.
Yeah, then you could call us morons.
If they are in the same spot this time next year, though, I do believe they're going to have better options and more of them. And you should also be in a spot next year at this time where the bullpen doesn't look the way that it does right now, where you've got to go out there and pick guys up off of the scrap heap to just give you innings. Like Strzelecki, that should not be a guy that's in your bullpen this time next year. What?
Well, I don't know if I'd go as far on the bullpen yet, but I'm on the rotation.
Libby should be in your pen at this point next year.
Libby should be Andrew Miller moving forward. Like, that guy should be in your bullpen, and you should never talk about him as a starter again.
The guy you acquired from the Diamondbacks, who's been unbelievable at AA so far, he's allowed 1 hit, 1 earned run, and I think he has 15 strikeouts and 1 walk. That guy should be at AAA to start the year and probably should be an option for you at the major league level by this time next year.
If you have
your bullpen should be significantly better next year than it is this year.
If you have aspirations to win, Strzelecki should not be an option in your bullpen.
I agree with that. I don't know if I'd still go as far as the bullpen will be significantly better next year. I think it'll
be in a better spot than it is right now.
If they sell off again, though, I don't know what their pin will look like.
Okay. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we're not entirely sure about the legalities of any of this, but the conferences are at least talking a good game right now. Alex, the SEC recently announced what some of these penalties are going to be. I would not be adding an NFL player if I was you.
Lane Kiffin didn't get that email.
We'll get into that coming up here in about 15 minutes. But next, that looked like the Nolan Gorman that we remembered. We'll talk about it here on BK and Ferrario.
Tanner Hendrickson here to tell you about something big that is coming. On September 2nd, DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive offers, and all-day celebration built for sports fans. So mark the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Whatever you're betting, DraftKings Game Day has deals dropping all day long. One app, every sport. DraftKings Game Day is yours. So sign up with DraftKings today with code TANNER. That's code TANNER, and get ready to celebrate the biggest day of the season. As new DraftKings customers, sign up with my promo code TANNER and spend $5 to get $200 in bonus bets within 21 days. That's code TANNER in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 non-withdrawable bonus bets issued every 7 days via click to claim for 21 days. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.
Well, Nolan Gorman was back in the lineup last night, Alex, and it looked a lot like the guy that we saw before he went down. His at-bats are as followed. Strikeout swinging on 5 pitches. Strikeout swinging on 6 pitches. A 67-mile-an-hour ground out on the second pitch of an at-bat. And then to finish things out, just because why not, strikeout swinging on not 1, not 2, but 3 pitches in his final at-bat of the game. 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts on the game. Yeah, that's the Nolan Gorman that we've all come to know and not particularly enjoy.
I like this text on the Air Comfort Service text line from the 314. The Gorman hate from you guys is crazy. He only struck out 3 times and we act like he was awful. Guys, he put the ball in play once.
That's right. 67 miles an hour off the bat, baby.
Yeah, he struck out 3 times.
Not everybody can do that.
2 of those strikeouts were on 3 pitches and 4 pitches. Mm-hmm. Like, there was no competitiveness in those 3 strikeouts. It was pitch outside the zone, I'm going to swing at it.
Yep. Yeah. It's one game, not the end of the world. Maybe he looks better tonight against Kyle Bradish. I doubt it. Chris Bassett is much worse than Kyle Bradish. But this is what the rest of the year is going to be about, right? Yeah. Go ahead and give him some runway. Yeah. Against right-handed pitchers, throw him in there at third base. I know T-Bone wants to see more of Blaze Jordan. I'm fine with that, but
I'm not going to get angry anymore.
Yeah,
college football kicks off on Saturday. Like, let's be honest.
You get a lefty on Thursday afternoon, put Blaze Jordan into the lineup, right? I'm totally cool with that. But if you've got a righty on the mound, I want to see Nolan Gorman in there. He should be batting like 7th or 8th in your lineup most days. And let's see what it looks like for the next 6 weeks. Give him a true runway here. Give him an opportunity to have success, advantageous situations. Righty on the mound as a starter, he's in the lineup. Lefty on the mound as a starter, he comes in whenever there's a righty that comes in as a bullpen arm. That's the way that, in my opinion, it should probably go from here. See what it looks like. And then when you get to the end of the year, my guess is, as I said yesterday, it'll look a lot like it did yesterday. And then you can non-tender him, and we can all go our separate ways with Nolan Gorman at the end of the year.
Yeah, like two sentences can be true. Nolan Gorman looked exactly like what Nolan Gorman looked like before he was sent to Memphis, and I'm also not upset about it. This is what this is about right now. Just put him at the position. Let's see what it looks like. Give him his final chance to prove that he has worked on his areas of deficiency and he's improved. And you got a shot again next year. But if not, if it looks the same, then you just move on from this and we can stop the conversation. They're going to treat this at times. Cardinals fans will look at it and be like, oh, they didn't give him the runway. That is not the case in this spot for Nolan Gorman. He's had every chance possible. He went to Memphis. He worked on his swing. He worked with the coaches. give him the shot. Let it see what it looks like the rest of the way, because there's nobody else that plays in that position. So I'm not upset about it at all, but watching it, it's like, okay, this is one of those that the Cardinals couldn't do anything with. You gave him a shot and you moved on.
I've seen a few people bring this up, saying, guys, we know what he is. Why isn't Thomas Ajayci up? And I'll give my explanation on this. I don't know if it's the same as the teams, but I would guess it's probably pretty similar, because you don't have any urgency with Thomas Ajayci. He's going to be here again next year. He's got options. He's probably going to be one of their right-handed utility bats, and it'll either be here or at AAA Memphis. But with Nolan Gorman, there's urgency to see, all right, one last opportunity for you here. What can you do against big league pitching? I think Nolan Gorman even knows that. I think after hearing him talk to the media yesterday prior to the game, he knows this is really his last shot to be able to do something with the Cardinals. And for Thomas Ajayci, it's not his last shot. He's got more of these. So find out what Gorman can do in the next 6 weeks before you make the decision on tendering him or non-tendering him in the offseason. There's more money associated with doing that with Nolan Gorman. With Thomas Ajayci, he's going to make the major league minimum next year, either way. So you keep him around. He's cost controlled. He's got options. That's, in my opinion, why you do it this way and not the other way around. If they needed somebody to come in and produce and that was the end-all be-all, Ajayci's probably your better option. He's been playing better. But I don't think that's what this is about. I think this is about setting yourself up for 2027.
Yeah, I think you need to look, sorry to cut you off, T-Bone. I think they just need to look at it and try and figure out where they can trim the fat on this roster. And unfortunately for Nolan Gorman, he's part of that fat that they're trying to trim off of. Like, do you fit into this? Because if not, we're cutting you out. The 40-man roster spot opens up, and we don't have to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's because you've got the arbitration process that's about to come up for Gorman, and you don't have that for Ajayci. Like, Ajayci's not ARB eligible until 2029. If this was 2029, or excuse me, 2028 going into 29, they'd probably be doing the same game with Thomas Ajayci. But I don't. They don't have to, right? It's because of what Alex said. They got to figure out, okay, are we going to tender him a contract? Can he play in a part of our future moving forward if we were able to fix his swing? And even if they didn't believe that, okay, can he at least showcase his skills here at the major leagues to where we don't have to non-tender him? We can get like a lottery ticket prospect. And I'd also add the fact that you have JJ that can play shortstop, because when went down, you don't need to call up Ajayci, who is a shortstop for them, or at least the backup version of a shortstop. He's a utility guy. Gorman, you had an open spot of, okay, we could use a left-handed bat here against the right-handed pitchers that we're going to see.
Do you know where Nolan Gorman currently ranks among Cardinals on the active roster in salary for 2026?
Oh.
Top 5. Fourth.
Are we counting? Or, just on the active roster. Okay. Who's making a lot of money now? I'll say third. Nice.
Palante and Burleson are top 2.
I knew Burley was.
I actually think
Palante's the highest paid.
Oh, no, yeah. Caleb Ferguson makes 1.3 because it's prorated. If you go by full season, Ferguson's salary is actually a little higher, so he would be 4th. But if you go by, what they're actually making from the Cardinals, the money spent by the Cardinals this year, he's 3rd behind Palante and Burleson. So that's why. Because he's making 2.6 this year. He'll probably, in arbitration, get to like 3 or 4 next season, just because you typically would get some kind of a raise through the arbitration process, even when you're terrible. Yes, I understand. It's a weird process, but that's the way that it works. He'll be non-tendered if this is the way that it goes the rest of the way, because he's not worth $4 million. And I don't think any other team would pay him that either. So he'll end up becoming a free agent and go sign somewhere. He'll have a couple of years of club control, and another team will take a chance on him, and then they'll go through the same process where they say, hey, we'll give you an opportunity in spring training, see what it looks like. If he doesn't make the club out of spring training, he gets DFA'd, and then he'll latch on somewhere else, and we'll just keep doing this. He will be what Dylan Carlson has been in Major League Baseball over the last few years, where he's a failed prospect that tries to latch on somewhere else. Yeah. That's probably what the future is going to look like for Nolan Gorman. But if you're the Cardinals, it's one last-ditch effort to make sure you're not missing anything here before you decide to make a move like that, where in the past, they have at times allowed these guys to go elsewhere, mostly via trade, and they didn't really find out, was there something more there? Adolis Garcia is one that immediately comes to mind, where it was like, all right, could you have maybe tried that a little longer to find out if there was something more in the bat? They didn't. He goes on elsewhere, has some success. Same thing maybe could have been true with Gorman. I don't think it will be, but you might as well find out.
Even if he goes on to have success elsewhere, I will not feel that way one bit. They gave him every shot. They worked with him. We've seen, it's why I said yesterday that I was at least intrigued by the idea of bringing Gorman up and giving him a shot because you were working with all of these coaches in the minor leagues that have had success with a lot of players working on their swings. I'm not going to have 1 inch of regret if he goes on to have success another place next season because it just wasn't going to work out here in St. Louis.
Should we give a quick thought on Nathan Church, who's kind of the opposite of this? He's been getting some runway this year, and, man, he's making good on it. Hit a home run last night. That was impressive.
Yeah, it was a
and
home run.
You look now at what he's done in his last 23 games. He's batting .330 with an OPS of .835 over that stretch. All right, Nathan Church. Hey, man, if you can do that over the course of a month, that stands out to me. Now, do I believe it? Would I buy into this long term? Not really. But the strikeout rate's really low. And when he makes contact, it's been quality contact. So I think he might be working his way into their plans for 2027 as their starting center fielder.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think it's probably the platoon situation, too, where you're going to see Pereira as the other option that they use in that spot. And we've all talked about the excitement for a guy like Ty Pete when that happens. You know, the kid that they got from, why am I blanking on the trade that they pulled off with Milwaukee?
Oh, sure,
Frias, I believe, is the center fielder. 18 years old, so you're further away on that one. This is the placeholder for what you hope is the next center fielder that you believe is the core piece. But, man, there's nothing wrong with having a guy like Nathan Church be the player that's playing out there for 80 to 100 games for you next season if he's going to hit like this.
Yeah, take away kind of just the basic numbers for a second, but if I would have told you Victor Scott would have been an 87 OPS plus, we would have signed up for it this year.
With 10 home runs.
Well, that's why I'm saying take away numbers, because he would do it differently. He'd probably be more stolen base, more batting average, less power.
Gotcha.
But that's what we wanted from Victor Scott, was not to be a guy that's going to be league average or above league average offensively. Just be like not a black hole in the lineup. And at 13% below league average, that's not awful at the bottom of your order with a little bit of pop, and plays pretty good defense out there in center field, has a cannon of an arm. That's what we wanted to see from Victor Scott this year. And, of course, he ended up becoming a guy that was way worse than that. They had to send him down in the minors. Yeah, I'm with you, BK. I think he's probably potentially playing his way into their plans for 2027, just to be a guy that they can throw out there, they know is going to get good defense and can hit at the bottom of your order.
Have you seen what Victor Scott's doing lately, by the way?
I saw his numbers are better. They're still not great.
They're ticking up. They're starting to look.
He doesn't even have an OPS over 700
You literally did this like a month ago with Nolan Gorman.
No. Time out. It's true. Last 28 days, he's batting .325, T-Bone. OPS of .875.
How many of those are bunt hits, though?
I don't know. I haven't been watching. But 4 doubles, 2 triples, a homer, 12 stolen bases in his last 21 games. He's starting to show a little bit more down there. I agree. Call me skeptical, but it's good to see positive reinforcements for him. He has a hit, and I think it's like 16 of his last 17 games. He's been playing better baseball. T-Bone, you can smirk all you want. Like, this is better, right? Isn't this what you want?
But I think you've found your center fielder to replace him.
I kind of agree. I don't think there's anything Victor Scott can do for me to feel like let's give him another shot again.
Classic 4A player. I mean, it's the same thing you're seeing with Gorman, right? Do we think Gorman's going to start hitting again up here? No. Are they giving him a shot? Yeah, they're giving him a shot because of what we talked about. They're going to have to pay him $4 million next year. Scott, I just don't see it with him, right? I know he had a great offseason, as we heard at winter warm-up. Good for him.
So right now, you would say you're convinced Nathan Church is for sure going to be better in 2027 than Victor Scott.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be convincing that he's better. I'm convinced I'd rather see Everson Pereira and Nathan Church play center fielder than watch Victor Scott play it next year.
I would bet that Church would be better.
I don't have that same confidence. I think Church has been playing very well over the last handful of weeks, but I think there's still at least a chance that Victor Scott becomes a better player long term. Victor Scott is still only 25 years old, and I think that gets lost sometimes when we discuss what he can be as a player. So I'm still holding out a little bit of hope for him, certainly more so, I would say, than what T-Bone is, but I am happy to see that he's performing better. It's nice that they've got multiple guys, though, performing in the center field spot, which has been an absolute black hole for any kind of production for the Cardinals in 2026. Coming up in 15 minutes, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. But next, we're not entirely sure if this is ultimately going to be deemed legal. That's got to be the starting point of this conversation. But the SEC sounds like they're talking a good game when it comes to adding NFL players to their rosters. We'll tell you the latest on this next year on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. Cardinals get blown out last night by the Baltimore Orioles 13-1. Game 2 of their 3-game set against Baltimore is tonight. 6:45 will be first pitch. Michael McGreevy will get the start for St. Louis. The Sports Center update is brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. You'll be saying, I love my windows.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Update on the SEC conversation that we were having yesterday. Really, college football at large. These conferences are trying, man. I'll give them credit for that. I don't know if any of this is ultimately going to be deemed legal, but the Big Ten and the SEC both yesterday announced new rules, which, to put this as plainly as I possibly can, basically say NFL players, you're not welcome here. You can go play somewhere. You just cannot play in these two conferences. The Big Ten determined that if you do take on one of these players, your coach will be suspended for 50% of your games, and you'll face a financial penalty equal to 20% of the football budget. It's now even worse for the SEC. There's a 50% fine from the SEC for your annual operating budget in the event that you take on a player that has previously performed in the NFL, NBA, G League, WNBA, etc. So this is real, and the reason why it does feel a little bit more enforceable if you're these conferences is twofold. One, teams aren't going to take something on, I would think, if they believe that their coach is going to be suspended for half of their games, and they're going to have to forfeit half of their money, right? Like that is a real punishment that can be lobbied by the conference. 2, if, this is a big if, I don't know how it's going to go, but if another conference says we are willing to take on these players, whether that's Big 12, ACC, a Group of 5 conference, whoever, then the same antitrust laws that have been used to sue the NCAA, well, that will not be as much of a loophole for these because it will not be viewed as a cartel operating as some kind of a monopoly and disallowing these players from entering the workforce, right? Because now it's just the SEC and the Big Ten that have put together these rules. We'll see if that continues. If every conference adopts these exact same rules, then you're going to have the exact same lawsuits that are filed, and they'll just say, hey, these conferences are acting as a cartel again. So we'll see what comes. But, Alex, what was your reaction when you saw what the SEC and Big Ten have done here?
I once again, I think it's all cute that we're trying to make this look like we're not going to do this and we're all going to have some honor amongst ourselves. There's no honor amongst thieves, and I kind of feel like this is one person's going to do it, and then it's going to be like, fine, try and suspend me for 6 games, we'll get a lawsuit. Because that seems to be what everybody does. There's the enforcement laid down that says, like, this can't happen, and then somebody says, nope, I'm going to show you it can happen, and I'll go to court with it. So I don't buy it. I guess I appreciate the fact that they're trying to kick it out, but kind of what you said there. If I'm the ACC or if I'm one of these lower tier conferences, cool. I'll bring them in. I'll go out there and dominate this year and then try and kick me out, because as much as the university is going to try and uphold, I guess, what these conferences are doing, the goal is to win and the goal is to bring in as much money as possible. So I just don't buy it. I think at some point this is going to fall through the wayside because somebody's going to take it to law or somebody's going to sue them, take it to court, and it's going to go away.
From the 314. So Notre Dame's in the clear? I mean, technically, yes. They could do this if they wanted to.
And said, I'm not doing it.
Notre Dame's different with admissions in general. Like they operate almost like an Ivy League school kind of in some ways, where academics is super important to them. It's one of the reasons Brian Kelly left, honestly. And so I don't think they were ever going to be a team that was going to take these players on. Like Marcus Freeman can go out there and play the nice guy act where he's like, no, this is not good for college football. If he was allowed to take them, I do wonder if his approach would have been slightly different. I don't think Notre Dame was ever going to be a school that was playing in these waters. So that's just not the way that they, generally speaking, operate.
Yeah, I love that the conferences are trying this, because I think, it's great PR for them to try and kind of quell this chance by these fifth-year seniors that are coming back from the NFL. But I support that they're willing to at least try it, right? And now we'll see what happens. Like, if they get handed a lawsuit, do they immediately back off, or do they go and try and fight it? We'll see. But I like the fact that they're trying it, and we'll see if the ACC Big 12 adopted. I know they've talked about it, but I hope they put this in place, and I hope it would be able to hold up in a court of law. Now, that I'm skeptical of, but I like that they're trying this, because I don't think you should be allowed to go to the NFL. I'm okay with you declaring for the draft, and they've had and I think the Big Ten and SEC had this in the rules. I'm okay with you declaring for the draft, kind of going through some of the process, figuring out, okay, where am I potentially going to be drafted at? Am I going to be drafted? And then pulling out at a certain date and going back. I don't like the fact that you can basically go through the whole process, get drafted, go to training camp, realize I'm not going to make the team, and then come back, because at that point you're a pro player.
Correct.
And sign a contract. So I like that the leagues are at least trying something, and at least are trying to say, okay, let's see if we can enforce this as a conference, compared to the NCAA, who is clearly just, at this point, has no power and has no legal standing.
Yeah, and again, the antitrust thing is a big part of why. Like, they're just getting sued in court and losing these cases left and right, because they view it as this is an antitrust situation. But for some players, this will not affect them. Like Sterling Webb on Mizzou, my understanding is that he's still eligible. The reason being, he didn't latch onto an NFL roster. He was out of eligibility according to the old rules, where he had 4 years played already in college. So he just left college because he was done. And then he, went through the pre-draft process in whatever ways he could, did the pro day, all of that. Tried to get into the NFL. NFL team said, hey, you're not worthy of an NFL roster spot. So he never signed a contract with anybody. He was just done with football probably for the rest of his life. And then he found out that there's an opportunity to play a fifth year in college football. And so he said, hey, I'd like to do that. And Mizzou said, well, we'd love to have you back. Go ahead and file a court case. Let's see what happens here. Won his court case. He's back on the Mizzou football roster. And so based upon all of that, the belief is he's still eligible. But for the majority of these players, the ones that were either drafted or were undrafted free agents and are still in a training camp and had signed legitimate NFL contracts, those are the guys that are still deemed to be ineligible. Mizzou, according to multiple reports, was in on one of those guys. There was a running back who played for SMU that they were trying to get on campus. They were apparently one of the 2 favorites to land his services. They were one of the finalists. And now he is not going to be eligible based upon these rule changes, along with that tight end who was trying to go to LSU. It does not sound like he will be allowed to come back to play after being cut by the Cleveland Browns. So those are the kinds of players that this is not an exemption for. Sterling Webb, who had no real NFL prospects, he's the one that's ultimately still going to be played. And that makes sense to me.
Same with Mark Mitchell, right?
Yeah, correct.
At Kentucky.
No NBA.
Yeah, on the basketball side of things.
Robbie Avila, though, isn't that different for him since he was?
I don't think so. I think he would be eligible.
He signed a G League contract, didn't he?
Yeah, I thought he signed the G League contract.
I thought he did.
Well, I know he played in summer ball, but we talked about how that one doesn't really count.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I thought he signed a G League contract.
He signed an Exhibit 10 contract. So I think...
What is that?
I think that would make him ineligible. I think. I don't know for sure. Some of these things have become very
NBA's
convoluted.
got
I believe that he would be ineligible based upon that, based upon signing the Exhibit 10 contracts, because that is what was presented to Mark Mitchell, was the Exhibit 10, and he was weighing his options and decided not to sign that contract because he had an offer on the table, probably from Kentucky, that was worth significantly more. So
good read by Mark Mitchell.
Yeah, honestly, Mark. Really good read by him.
Yeah, now to be fair, I don't know how I guess it's somewhat of a risk because you don't know if that's actually going to end up going through. But I guess if you were thinking about it and you said, there's a chance you sue the NCAA. Well, nobody seems to lose those cases.
Yeah,
so I guess I won't sign a 10-day and see if I can get a couple mil from Kentucky.
Sue him. You'll be in good shape.
Mark Mitchell.
Yeah. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. We'll get to all of those coming up next here on 101 ESPN. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and get them in right now on the Air Comfort Service text line. From the 417, guys, what do you think Mizzou football will ultimately do this year? Can they be a team that finishes with 9 or more wins?
I think they get 7 wins. 7 is kind of my sweet spot right now.
If they get to 9 wins, it would be the most impressive season by Eli Drinkwitz since taking over. And that's including the year that they were awesome. The reason that I mention that is because they've got Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma on their schedule, all of whom are currently ranked in the top 10. To finish with 9+ wins, you'd have to win at least 2 of those games. Those would immediately become the 2 biggest wins of Eli Drinkwitz's career. So, yeah, I don't think that's a reasonable expectation going in. If they do it, it'd be a remarkable achievement.
Yeah.
It'd be one of the biggest stories in college football this year if they do that.
Yeah, true. I'm kind of with Alex. I think 7 wins is kind of what my expectation is. Maybe 8. Maybe they pull off a surprise on the schedule. I don't know why, but when I read kind of what's come from training camp of college football, from what I hear about Austin Simmons of, hey, really good arm talent. I don't know why, but I feel like we're going to see them win a game they probably shouldn't because of his arm talent, yet lose a game that they shouldn't.
I think that's fair.
And so, like, I wouldn't shock me if, like, they upset, like, Ole Miss or Oklahoma, and then, like, we look at it and go, no, wait a minute, how did they lose to Kentucky? Yeah. That's why I'm kind of feeling
That's how the season always goes.
If they finished with the right losses and the right wins on their resume, there's a chance 9-3 could get them into the playoff, given their schedule this year.
Yeah.
Like that is how impressive such a season would be. I mean, you would be kind of similar to Texas last year, where you're right there, and depending on what happens with Group of 5 teams, you might be able to get in.
Your losses probably have to be what? A&M, Texas, Georgia?
Just kind of depends on how those teams all end up being this year.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then, like, if you could upset Oklahoma at home, maybe if they're a good team, like, maybe that's
honestly,
one that gets you over the top.
Might be best if you beat Texas and Georgia. Just so you've got those great wins on your resume, assuming that they're as good as people expect them to be this year. And if you're able to beat them, and like Texas, for example, beats Ohio State and loses to you, that's going to be one of the best wins on anybody's resume all year long.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. But you just can't have, like we mentioned, Texas. Texas had a bad loss on their resume that killed them. That's the thing you just can't have, because they lost to, like, Kentucky or someone, like, really bad. And then they, Florida, that's who it was. And they would, like, whine and cry about, we belong in the play. Look how tough our schedule. Guys, you lost to Florida. If you lose to Florida, you're not a playoff team.
Yeah, and their best win on the season was
it Vandy?
Vandy, Texas A&M, one of those two.
Yeah.
So they didn't have enough quality wins, and they had a bad loss. If Missouri has quality losses and these kinds of wins we're talking about here, yeah, they legitimately have a case to get into the playoff despite the 3 losses. All right, from the 636, do you guys think the Savannah Bananas would benefit from the lockout more than anybody else?
I think maybe, but I think minor league baseball might benefit, like AAA, especially with top prospects. If it's within driving to, like Memphis, for example, like they might benefit a lot if you've got significant prospects like Doyle and Rodriguez playing with those teams. I think you're going to get a lot of ground action of people that are traveling to go watch.
This is a potentially really stupid question, T-Bone, so I apologize. Is MLS still going to be a summer sport next year? When do they make the switch?
They're starting the switch next year.
So next year?
Not exactly. I think they're like part of the summer, not completely. Their schedule's confusing for next year.
The reason that I bring this up is because if they are going to have the same schedule where they kind of start spring and like go all summer into the fall a little bit, they could really benefit from this in a lot of different markets where people are just starved for sports in the summer. There's nothing else going on. The other thing that's going to benefit from this, in my opinion, would be not that it needs it, but NBA and NHL as they progress into the summer with their playoffs. Like there will just be more attention on those sports as opposed to having the divided attention of some people, not a huge number, but it's some people saying, all right, it's April, baseball season begins in April.
Yeah, I get where the person's coming from with the Savannah Bananas. I just don't know that there's significant more room for them to grow. I mean, look, they just sold out, Busch Stadium back-to-back nights. They sell out, like, Clemson football. Like, they've already got the attention. I don't know that they would get some more. I don't know if it's a significant number. I think you guys are spot on. I think it'd be more NHL, NBA. I'm skeptical MLS. And I think minor league baseball, especially if your minor league affiliates are close. Like here in St. Louis, you've got Memphis, Springfield, Peoria, if you wanted to go down to high, if they had a high.
I remember when the NHL went into that lockout in 2004, Peoria Rivermen had multiple Blues players, Ryan Johnson, Jamal Mayers. I think my dad and I drove to like 12 different home games for that, and it was crowded at those games.
I will say, I think that's more St. Louis specific.
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
I don't know how. I don't know how many other markets would feel.
Yeah,
that
I don't think New York. They're going to like.
Well, they also have NFL too, to where like in the summertime you're focused on NFL.
We're very unique here in St. Louis in terms of the sports that we have provided for us, and not having a football team definitely changes things. From the 573, excuse me. Be honest with me, guys. How does TMA do in the mornings? Excellent. They're unbelievable. The ratings are great. Their podcast numbers are ridiculous, and they bring in a ton of revenue. So they've been an incredible addition to the station. I've got nothing but good things to say about them in terms of what they've brought, and also all the guys are awesome. So.
Yeah. They had that segment last week that you texted the group about of them doing a contest to give away BMW.
I saw the clip on
social media. I didn't catch the whole thing. I only caught the back end once BK texted, and I went back and listened to it. I don't know if I've laughed harder at a segment.
It was ridiculous.
Than listening to people try and guess those and hearing like Doug and Martin's reaction to these people not getting answers corrected.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. From the 314, guys, would you be interested in Vladimir Tarasenko?
No. Stop it. Move on.
Come on, man.
That was quick.
Just like, what are we doing? If
you have more interest in Michaelis than Vladdy?
Yeah, because they need that. I don't think you need a Vladdy.
Nah, yeah.
If I'm signing a goal scorer, I'm going to go sign Patrick Laine before I sign Vladdy Tarasenko.
No, I wouldn't do him either.
I'm good with
I wouldn't do him.
He's a disaster. They don't need Vladimir Tarasenko. It would be cool, kind of the storyline, but like Alex said, they don't need a winger.
I'd do Perron before I would do Tarasenko.
I think that's fair. Perron can go out on your fourth line. Vladdy just doesn't fit up.
Vladdy's going to want power play time. He's going to want top 6 minutes, and he's not getting any of those on this roster. Same with Laine.
I mean, we could.
But at least Laine, like I look at it and I say, I'll put Laine on the first power play because that guy, if he connects on a one-timer, is going into the back of the net. Vladdy isn't even a one-time shot.
If they're going to make a move between now and the start of the season, I still think it's Nikishin.
I agree.
That's the one that makes more sense to me.
And if they add a forward, I think it's in that Nikishin deal and they bring back that Kotkaniemi.
Yeah. I don't think that they're adding a free agent forward. No. Normally, this time of the year, you're looking at PTOs, and those would be guys that are competing for that fourth line. They've already got a ton of dudes, as we talked about yesterday with Sonny, competing for opportunities on that fourth line.
I could see a PTO for a guy like Perron. Not getting anybody calling, familiar with St. Louis, and typically those PTOs aren't for the guy to get a shot on that roster. It's familiarity to go work out, get a look to the other teams to see how he looks, because maybe other teams don't have the chance to play at PTO, and he goes and plays and then they see it. So I can see a Perron as a PTO. I don't see a Vladdy as a PTO.
He's Alex. That's T-Bone on BK. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll dive into some NFL quick hitters. We've got Chris Kerber, the voice of the Blues, joining us in the 12 o'clock hour as well. But coming up next, Rainiel Rodriguez is putting up historically great numbers at the AA level. Hit 2 more homers yesterday, Alex. I'll update you on the company that he's keeping and talk about one of the comparisons next here on 101 ESPN.
Yost to Rodriguez. Swung on and hit. High in the air. Deep left field. Back on it. Ornelas at the wall. Looks up. And it's onto the Hamby home run deck.
And Rodriguez, high drive deep to left. He's done it again. Rainiel Rodriguez. It's his world right now. We're all just living in it. His second home run of the night. That's back-to-back multi-homer games. Cardinals up a high 5-0.
That's what it sounded like on the broadcast for the Springfield Cardinals, who will not be the Springfield Cardinals for much longer, by the way. Sounds like they're going to have an announcement, I believe, later today on the future of their name. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Rainiel Rodriguez, 2 more homers yesterday. He's now batting .475 in the last month. That's not a misprint. I did not say that wrong. He's batting .475 in the last month. He has 10 home runs over that stretch. In his last 6 games, he has nearly as many extra base hits, 8, as he has outs recorded, 11. He's producing historically great numbers at the level he's at for the age that he currently is, Alex. 21 doubles in 19 home runs in 73 games. He is 19 years old, and he's at AA.
All right, Brandon, hit me with it.
T-Bone, you said coming into this segment, you hear the contact, the sound of the crack of the bat, and it reminds you of somebody. You told us you're not going to say who that somebody is, though.
We're going to throw that bus over you right now.
Who does it remind you of?
Thanks,
Let's
teammates.
hear it. Hit me with it.
So I remember being at the ballpark in a couple seasons ago, and at BP, like, good hitters, when it hits their bat, it's just special, right? I don't know if you guys have seen the clip that's been going around social media on Twitter of Yordan Alvarez on one of his home runs. It sounds like a bomb went off when the bat hits the ball. That sound right there reminded me of like when Albert would take BP. Like, you wouldn't have to be looking, and you'd hear a ball coming off a bat, and you'd go, "Oh yeah, that's somebody different. That's special." And you turn around and it'd be 700 home runs, Albert Pujols. That's what that sounded like to me. I mean, that was a special sound coming off of the bat.
Best batting average by any player at AA under the age of 20 in the last decade.
Here's the list.
No, there is no list. It's Rainiel Rodriguez.
Come on, man.
And the list.
It's just him. He has the best batting average at .325 by any player under the age of 20 in the last decade. He's second now in OPS, and the other guy who is up there with him is currently a top 5 prospect in baseball, and he's at .990 in terms of the OPS. Third is Owen Cassey, the outfielder from the Cubs, who was at .915. Jeez. 70 points below where Rainiel Rodriguez is. Other guys in recent years that have been up here in OPS, again, at the age of 20, Riley Green, Jordan Walker, Dylan Carlson, Fernando Tatis Jr., Evan Carter, Roman Anthony. I mean, these are legit major leaguers, and then Cardinals. Dylan Carlson on the list.
Oh, okay.
He's supposed to be so much better.
It did not sound like that.
Why is it always Dylan Carlson finds his way on these lists?
It's so frustrating.
It's the reminder of like, yeah, just don't get too excited about him.
I mean, Alex, what we're witnessing is historic in nature. It's crazy.
Except for Dylan Carlson.
What he's doing right now at his age, it just doesn't happen. I mean, if he was at the AAA level right now, it wouldn't be a surprise to anybody. He's that good. He's deserving of a promotion. I think they're probably going to keep him down there just because the AA team has a chance to like go win another title in their league. So why not have meaningful games for him, I suppose. You ready for the list?
You already did this, man. You said that's the list. There's it.
No, it's just Rainiel Rodriguez on that one. But
I have another one.
We should make some kind of an open.
I'm telling you, it's just that here's the list.
List of players age 19 or younger at the AA level with at least 20 doubles and 20 home runs in a single season.
Ta-da.
Jackson Chourio, Domingo Santana, John Singleton, Oscar Taveras, Anthony Rizzo, Colby Rasmus, end of list in the last 20 years.
I got to be honest, there's only 2 on that list that gets me really excited.
I know. It's not as exciting as
Domingo Santana.
Oh, I don't even remember him.
Nobody does.
He was a big dude. Okay. That's all I remember.
Alex, Anthony Rizzo's name immediately stood out to me. First baseman, hell of a major leaguer. And you look at his numbers from when he was down at the AA level, and they're similar. It's a different time in Major League Baseball and in minor league baseball than it was then. But he's putting up big-time numbers at a really young age and ultimately came up and, was a big part of the core of those Cubs teams for basically the longevity of his career. So I was thinking yesterday, would it be considered a success if that's the kind of career that Rainiel Rodriguez has? comes up to the Cardinals, and then basically is for them what Rizzo was for the Cubs. So I put this out on Twitter, at BK Sports Talk, just very simply. If Rainiel Rodriguez has the major league career that Anthony Rizzo did, would that be considered a success for the Cardinals? 81% of the responses so far have said yes, 18% say no. Alex, would you view that as a success for Rainiel Rodriguez?
100%, absolutely yes. Anthony Rizzo had an incredible career. I don't know if it's going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Probably not, but it is the Hall of really, really good. If you're telling me it's a guy that's going to have 4 straight seasons of 30 home runs and 30 doubles with 100 RBI, I don't know what more you can ask for, especially when it comes to a guy that's a top prospect or one of the top prospects in baseball. We've seen a lot of the times it does not translate to the major league level. And if you're telling me that I could get 14 seasons of a guy to where he is a mainstay in my lineup, the only other thing you're asking for is that you're getting a Hall of Fame caliber player, and those are so rare to find. So, yeah, Anthony Rizzo comes up in front. I will slam that button.
I'll just go ahead and give my answer on this. I could not hit it quick enough. Like, yes, of course, a 275 hitter for the Cubs, 30% above league average offensively, a career 265, 270 hitter, gets on base at a really high clip as well. Of course, I would be thrilled if you get a consistent 25-plus home run, 30-plus double. Every year you can slot him into the top 4 of your lineup, and basically anywhere in that top 4 he can fit in because he's just that well-rounded as a hitter. Multi-time all-star, guy that's consistently considered to be one of the, 15 to 20 best hitters in baseball. Yeah, absolutely. Slot that guy into my lineup, I'll figure out the rest. T-Bone, how would you feel? Would you consider that to be a success?
So the funny thing is when you first brought this up to me in the office, my initial reaction was, I wouldn't hit the button to sign up for that. I would press my luck because, I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I was younger when Rizzo was in his prime. I don't know why, but I never viewed Rizzo as a special player or a guy that was the guy that struck fear into you in a lineup. That was always Chris Bryant for the Cubs, and then Baez was another one just based on his talent and the power and kind of how he was brought up. Rizzo was kind of a guy that was traded away from the Padres, went over to Chicago. But when I look at his numbers, and I look at especially his prime years from 22 to 29, 32% above league average, 277, 376, 496. I would sign up for that. My initial reaction in the office was Rizzo. Nah, that guy was kind of like the third piece of the championship team. And now you look at it and go, man, if that was a third piece, that guy was a hell of a third piece. So, I would sign up for it in a heartbeat.
That's going to be a middle-of-the-order bat that's potentially hitting 6th for this lineup if everything goes the way that they hope it goes.
That's hitting 2 or 3.
Oh, sure. But what I'm saying is if Burleson's still good the way he is, and Walker and Herrera.
This is better
Herrera is
than
probably the guy that's hitting
This
6th.
would be the best hitter in the lineup right now.
Yeah.
If you had this version of Anthony Rizzo, he would be the number 1 guy, and that's, above what you're getting currently out of Jordan Walker.
Fine, then one of those guys are hitting 5th or 6th for you.
Yeah, I think
regardless, your lineup becomes deeper because of that.
Probably go, in this scenario, just projecting forward, probably 1 JJ, 2 this, whatever this is, Rizzo/Rodriguez. 3 Burley, 4 would be Walker, 5 is
maybe Herrera.
Maybe. I would probably say you'd like to have a lefty bat maybe. There. Yeah.
I just don't know if you're going to have another lefty internally. So if you want
to
a lefty,
add somebody.
Yeah, I think if you want a lefty, you probably got to go either to third base or center field.
And then
upgrade.
6 Herrera, 7 Baez. And that's what you're trying to get to, is having the ability to have Joshua Baez be your Teoscar Hernandez, where you don't rely on him for anything. Anything he gives you is gravy, and there will be individual games and maybe even individual series that he just wins you because of the way that he's able to put points on the board, right? The home run power that he provides is so incredibly valuable, but you want it to be a situation where you're not completely reliant upon it day in and day out. He's probably underqualified as a top half of the order hitter, but overqualified as a bottom half of the order hitter, and that's where you want him to be. And, man, if you're able to put in a guy like Ivan Herrera in the bottom half of your order, that's a championship contending lineup. But it all relies on this being what you get out of Rainiel Rodriguez. If you got this, sign me up in a heartbeat.
Can I ask you, since we're talking a little bit about the Cubs with Rizzo here?
Sure.
Last night after the Cardinals gave up 2 touchdowns to Baltimore, I decided to turn on the Cubs and Diamondbacks game to watch playoff caliber baseball.
Rizzo wasn't playing then, man.
No, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw no Rizzo. I couldn't help but watching the Cubs, and they were talking about the power in that lineup, think to myself, I wonder if this is what the Cardinals are going to look like in 2 years. Because, I mean, you look at that Cubs lineup, it's got one superstar in PCA, and then a bunch of 20% above league average guys that have like 20 home run power. And we talked a little bit about this on last week's episode of the Redbird Report. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Baez is 25 plus, Burley's 25 plus. We'll give Herrera benefit of the doubt and say he's 20. Weatherholt will say he can be 20. Walker's going to be 30 home runs this year. And now we're also talking about adding in Rodriguez, which if he becomes Rizzo, was 30 home run power. I mean, I just named, 6 guys there for you? That's kind of the Cubs right now, and that's kind of their lineup. Their thing that is going to be their biggest question mark isn't the hitting, in my opinion. It's going to be their pitching staff.
I mean, you look at their lineup, nobody on their lineup is having really a special season outside of PCA.
Yeah.
Suzuki's been really good. He's probably their second best hitter, and they were trying like hell to get rid of him in the offseason, but they didn't, and they kept him, and ultimately it's worked out okay. And because PCA is so damn good in center, it takes off. This honestly gets back to the Mason Wynn conversation at short, where PCA is so great in center field, it takes some of the defensive responsibility off of Suzuki and allows him to just go out there and be a bat that happens to stand in right field for 9 innings every day, and he's fine. And then offensively, he contributes more than enough to be a positive player in their lineup. Their third best hitter this year is Alex Bregman, who's batting .250 with a .750 OPS on the season. Think about that for a second. That guy would be your third best hitter this year, and he's the third best hitter in the Cubs lineup. I know this sounds kind of crazy. The Cardinals are hoping to build a better lineup than what the Cubs have currently. Like, that's the goal, is that you should have somebody in your lineup that can be PCA, another guy that can be Suzuki, and then you have 2 or 3 other dudes that slot in ahead of or right where Alex Bregman is right now. Like, Rainiel Rodriguez, the hope is that he becomes a better hitter in his career than what Alex Bregman is this year. Not overall, because he's been great, but this year, you want Rainiel Rodriguez to be better. Ivan Herrera should be better than that. And maybe Joshua Baez kind of is what you're getting this year out of like a Michael Busch or somebody a little bit better than that, you know? I think that's the goal of what they're trying to accomplish here.
And the thing that's great about their lineup, it's so balanced in the platoon splits, right? Like,
correct.
Bush can struggle against lefties. He crushes right-handed pitching. PCA crushes right-handed pitching. Then you go up against a lefty. Ian Happ, by the way, pretty good against right-handed pitching. Go against a lefty. Seiya Suzuki's been awesome against lefties. That's the thing. As long as you have one guy that's not splitty as your superstar, you can get away with Burley, who can struggle against left-handed pitching, as long as he mashes righties when you get to those games.
From the 314, guys, you said the other day that you wouldn't trade Rainiel Rodriguez for proven certainty last week. For example, Fernando Tatis Jr., unless they were a true superstar. But now you're advocating that it would be good to accept something less than what Tatis Jr. has been in his major league career. Why? I can't speak for these guys, but I'll go ahead and give my explanation on the matter. Rainiel Rodriguez on a rookie-level deal where he's going to be making $700,000 for a few years, and then you get into the arbitration process. Like, you've got him signed up right now without doing anything to his contract, assuming that the CBA stays the same, for 6 years and $40 million. Meanwhile, some of those superstars that you're talking about potentially trading Rodriguez for, they're close to $40 million for next year. So that's why.
And also closer to 30 years old.
Sure, yeah, and it provides so much for you in terms of what you're able to do around Rainiel Rodriguez. What I'm basically saying is I get Rodriguez plus a $30 million pitcher, and you just get that 30-year-old superstar that's already ready-made. So I get Rodriguez for the next 6 years for the price that you get your player for one, and I get a starting pitcher for it. I'll take that side. Mm-hmm. Assuming that Rainiel Rodriguez is really good. Yeah. That's the tough part.
Yeah, and that's the chance that you play with all of this, but I'll roll the dice for somebody that's doing something that rarely happens at the AA level. I just
trade Rodriguez while I was out of town.
No, we said we
not. Wouldn't.
Oh, okay, good.
I
wouldn't go for anything.
We went through, so we were talking about who's actually untouchable on this team, and there are very few players that I would deem to be an untouchable. But I think there were like 6 guys that I said I would be willing to trade him for in all of Major League Baseball, which speaks to how. Yeah, speaks to how rare it is to have this kind of a commodity in your roster.
I don't even remember who those players were, but I mean, it was basically it would never happen, and so this guy's untouchable on your roster.
More or less, yes.
Yeah, say, because I was like, man, what a conversation to have while I was away, because I wouldn't trade him for anything.
No.
I would hold on to him because I think he's going to be special.
Yeah, I do as well. I'll go through this real quick, and we'll get to Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues, coming up here in about 15 minutes. The Athletic put together, not The Athletic, Fangraphs put together their top trade value charts, who the top guys are in all of Major League Baseball. You tell me, T-Bone, if you would trade him for any of these guys that are kind of at the top 10 of their list, okay? Number one on their list for 2026, the most valuable trade commodity in baseball is Shohei Ohtani.
Okay, him I would.
Yeah, agreed. Bobby Witt Jr.
No, I'd bet on Rodriguez.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd trade him for Bobby Witt Jr.
PCA.
I'd bet on Rodriguez.
Hell no, I'm not trading.
Kevin McGonigal.
No, I'd bet on Rodriguez.
JJ Weatherholt. James Wood.
No, I'd bet on Rodriguez. I got my outfield figured out with Walker.
I think I'd
trade for James Wood. That's certainty of hitting 40 bombs at the major league level.
Have you seen what James Wood has done over the last 2 years?
He's been great. He's been great.
And I'd trade one of those outfielders.
This year, he's hit 30 home runs, 100 runs scored, 17 stolen bases. He's walking 17% of the time, has a slugging percentage of .535, 50% above league average. Yeah, give me that guy.
Yeah, I'll trade Baez and I'll put
Junior Caminero. I'd take him.
I'd take him.
See, I'm hoping that Rodriguez can become him.
Third baseman too, huh?
Yeah, I know, but I would bet on I want to bet on Rodriguez. That's how good I think he is. I wouldn't trade him. The cost certainly, like you said, coming up with him as well. Now I get it. Caminero's in, I think, pre-arb still. So
yeah, he's pre-arb. He's got 4 years left of club control.
I would stick with Rodriguez.
Okay. Well, we view it differently. Nick Kurtz.
No, I would stick with Rodriguez.
Christopher Sanchez.
No.
Paul Skeens.
Nah, he's having a down.
Miz.
Him, I would. I think he's special.
That's one that I said last week. And then Corbin Carroll.
No.
Carroll's, you know how I feel.
Yeah, I know.
Corbin.
You love Carroll.
Center fielder.
He's not. They don't play him in center field.
I know, but he could.
Well, could, sure.
Yeah,
Burley could play a corner.
Burley could play the corner outfield.
And Juan Yepes could be in left field.
Give me Corbin Carroll. I need that on my roster.
Wilson Contreras can play right field.
I think Jackson Chourio is kind of what you're hoping early on the career looks like for Rainiel Rodriguez.
No, I'm hoping for Shohei Ohtani.
I get that, but Jackson Chourio is one of those guys that is really interesting to me in that he's not great at anything, but he's really good at everything.
He's like Weatherholt, kind of. Mm-hmm. But a little bit. I think he's got a little bit more pop.
Yeah, a little better right now. A little better. I don't know that that'll be the case in the future. But yeah, you've got like 3 or 4 names that you'd trade him for. I'd probably closer to like 7.
Yeah, I was going to say about 6 or 7 of them.
Again, all of this speaks to how valuable he is as an asset right now. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get to Chris Kerber, NFL Quick Hitters, next on 101 ESPN. All right, let's dive into some NFL quick hitters. Want to get to a couple of different lists. You'll never believe this, Alex.
Here's the list.
Based upon what Bill Barnwell had to write, he was predicting NFL teams most likely to improve and regress in the 2026 campaign. Would you like to start with the teams that are going to get better or worse?
Let's go get better. I'm always an optimist.
All right, these are the 5 teams that he says you can count on these teams to get better in 2026 than they were last year, based upon their overall record.
So let's guess these T-bones.
Oh, do you want to guess them?
Yeah, I want to guess these.
Okay,
Cowboys are 1.
Nope.
Okay, cool.
Still want to guess.
Not anymore. Vikings?
Nope. I'll give you one more.
I'll give you one more, and then 3 strikes.
Was there one in the NFC South?
No.
All right.
Was there one in the NFC East?
Yes.
Commanders?
No.
Okay, I took 2 of the 3 from that division, so there's no. This list sucks. Then don't tell me the Giants are going to be good.
Giants.
That's stupid.
He didn't say they're going to be good. He said they're going to be better than they were last season.
4 wins.
No, exactly. That is what he's trying to say. Is that these teams will improve their record.
I'm glad I didn't
based
click
upon
on
what
this.
they did a year ago. The Giants are 1. The Jets are another. The Lions, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. He believes that those are the teams that will improve in 2026. Of them, who do you think is most likely to improve this year, Alex?
Probably
Baltimore, Detroit, KC, and both New York teams.
If you're going
KC
off
doesn't improve, man. We got something wrong
If you're
here.
going off of the Barnwell thought process here, then yeah, sure, the Jets are the Giants, but I'm not going to go off of terrible teams. I would say the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs, being as bad as they were last year, had a lot of things that went wrong for them. Mahomes being the biggest one. I think he has a good bounce back this year, so I'll say Chiefs.
Yeah, I would say Chiefs as well. The Giants are interesting to me, but their quarterback's already gone through concussion protocol from a hit in the preseason. So I just don't know that he's going to be healthy. I wouldn't trust Baltimore. I definitely don't buy Detroit. I don't know that Detroit's going to be much better. I think it is the Chiefs. You've got a Hall of Fame quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback of his generation, and you added to your running game, which was a problem last year with Kenneth Walker. Yeah, I can see where they're significantly better this year.
The Jets shouldn't be on this list.
Who would you
the
have
Jets
as
are
the
going to be
second
worse.
most likely team? Because I
Of
think we're all in
that
agreement.
list?
Yep.
I think I'd go with the Lions.
I'd probably go Giants, even though I have some concerns about their quarterback.
I think I go Lions.
I like the coach. I like the roster. It's just a question of dart.
And this is not saying that they're going to be good. Could they win 6 games this year? Yeah. And that would be an improvement. They were a 4-win team last year. Now they're a 6-win team. So I would have them as my second most likely as well. Alex, you're in on the Lions again?
Yeah.
You think they're going to be good?
I just think their offense is so lethal. I don't know what their defense is going to look like. Frankly, it hurts them every year. But I think you're going to have the best player in the game this season in Jahmyr Gibbs. With the weapons that you've got on the wide receiver front, you're always going to be into those games. So unless an injury takes place like it did last year, yeah, I think that's a team that I would mark down right now as 10-plus wins.
Regression time. You guys want to guess them?
I don't want to do this stupid game anymore.
It's based upon the record
with,
last year and what they're going to be this year. Just to
Seahawks?
clear that up.
Seahawks.
No.
I saw this list. I saw this one, so I can't guess.
Patriots?
Yes. That's one.
Come on, think about who you hate.
Broncos for sure.
Yes.
Bo Picks is terrible. So.
That is one of them.
Jaguars?
You're on a roll. That's 3 in a row.
Well, Bill actually did his list well. Oh, the Dolphins.
No.
Oh, come on. The Dolphins are so going to regress from 7 wins.
I do think that's probably a good one.
The Steelers?
No.
Didn't have that one on
They
there?
should have been on there
There's
too.
2 more, both in the NFC. I'll give you one.
Bears?
Yes.
And
You want me to give you the division?
yes.
The South?
Oh.
Which one of
Bucks.
them? Oh, man,
it
you
the
were
Falcons?
so close. No.
Damn it, the Panthers!
Yeah, there we go. Your list. Teams most likely to regress in 2026 based upon what they did last season. The Carolina Panthers, the Chicago Bears, the Denver Broncos, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the New England Patriots. Alex, I don't even know if I have to ask you this, but of those 5, which one do you think is most likely to get worse in their record?
It's the Broncos. I think it's obviously the Broncos. I don't see the Patriots regressing. I think that team is just going to get better. I could, dude, anybody from the NFC South can regress because it's just a terrible division. I think it's the Broncos. I don't trust the quarterback. I think they've got some fun weapons, but I just don't think the quarterback is good enough to get you there. Now, the defense will keep you surviving, but if I think the Chiefs are going to improve, if I think the Texans are going to be as good as they are, like there's a lot of difficulty in that division and that conference, so I'll say the Broncos.
I would play this game the easy way, kind of the way that we did with the last one, T-Bone, on the Giants, where it's super easy to improve from 4 wins. I think it's super easy to get worse from 13 that the Jaguars had a year ago. I don't see them maintaining that. I think they could be a good team this year and win 10 games.
I think they're going to be a fun team. And that Parker Washington, from everything I've read, looks like he might be the missing piece that they've really needed for a long time.
I think they could be really good.
Yeah.
Winning 13 games is incredibly hard. Doing it in back-to-back seasons, good luck.
Yeah, and their defense wasn't special last year, wasn't great. I mean, it was fine. But like the Broncos, like their defense was excellent. So I expect them to kind of, maybe they do regress, but I expect them to still be pretty good. New England, they added to their offense. Their defense should be fine. I'm with you. I think it's Jacksonville. And am I really going to bet on Trevor Lawrence to do that again? Nah, I'm not.
Let's go through their first 6 games.
I bet on him over Bo Nix, though. I would bet on Trevor Lawrence to do that again because of his ability to just be versatile.
I think that's fair. Bo Nix. I think they're like in the same tier.
The tough part, though, is I think the Broncos' defense might be the best in the league. Exactly. I think the Jaguars' defense is mediocre. Let's go through the first 6 games real quick from Jacksonville, because I had not looked up their schedule previously. Week 1, Cleveland.
Win.
Week 2, at Denver.
See, I would say on the road, Denver. Give me Denver.
I think I would, too.
Week 3, New England.
That's a loss. I think New England's going to be
week 4 at Cincy.
Oh,
what's Cincy look like at that point?
I'd actually give Jacksonville the edge.
I think I'd do Jacksonville there.
Yeah, that Cincy defense.
I still don't trust Cincy's defense.
Week 5, Philly.
I'm skeptical with Philly, so that might be a 50-50 shot.
At home?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll go Jags.
I think 8:30 a.m.
It's in London.
That's a London game. Believe.
Well, honestly, it's a toss-up, man.
Jacksonville's used to going to London, so give me the Jags.
Okay, and then the next week, Houston in Philly, or excuse me, in London.
I'll get.
Yeah, their first 6 weeks are brutal, dude. There's a real chance they could be 1-5 in that stretch. I wouldn't predict it.
Might dive in that game against the Texans.
There's a real chance they win that Cleveland game and don't win another one prior to the bye, and that alone would be enough for them to regress from last year. Through 6 weeks, they would have more losses than they did the entirety
the Broncos
of the 2025 campaign.
I'll say if the Jags offense regresses, which is kind of what I'm expecting, because I'm with you. I think the defense is mediocre at best, but if that offense just takes a slight step back, they're really going to feel it.
God.
Yeah.
All right, this is Denver through the first 6 weeks. This could be a weird season early on, man.
Broncos' schedule is
not
let's
ideal.
Remind
everybody, the first 4 weeks are basically the preseason stuff.
I understand, but listen to this. At KC to open things up Monday night.
Win.
I think there's a chance they win that one, but I don't know. Jacksonville at home.
We just said it's going to be probably Denver.
So
the Rams.
Loss.
At San Fran.
I'd say loss.
That's tough. Ooh. Could go either way. I don't know.
I'll say Denver because I'll just bet that San Fran's
It's probably the healthiest San Fran's going to be. That's a win. I don't trust the Chargers more than I trust
the defense of the Broncos.
Yeah. Home against Seattle.
Ooh,
I'd say that's
fine.
a loss.
That's a old school football matchup there. I'll go Denver since you said home.
And then you've got at Arizona. That'll be a win, but then Kansas City in week 8. It's not easy. Mm-hmm. It's not easy, man. There are a few contenders that we're going to get 6-7 weeks into the season. And some of these teams, especially in the AFC, where there are legitimately like 8 teams that believe they're in not only playoff contention, but in Super Bowl mode. There's going to be some of these teams that feel like they're out of it by the time that we get to the month of November. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues, next.
Hey, listen, summer is still here, and you need to make sure that air conditioner is running really well. And make sure that if you're hearing some noises, maybe it's not blowing the cold air out. That could be a sign of even bigger issues that even could impact things as we head into the fall and into the winter. Get Classic Air Care out to take a look at it now. Go online, book an appointment at classicaircare.com. You can call them as well, and they've got over 100 vans on the road. They can typically get to you within 24 hours and ask for same-day service as well. Now, Classic Air Care is also giving back to the community, so check this out. If you go onto the website and you log on to classicaircare.com, you can nominate a local hero, and in conjunction with Lennox, they're teaming up for the Feel the Love program, where they're giving away a free heating and cooling unit at no charge to a local hero. So nominate somebody that's just doing right in your community, a teacher, first responder, maybe it's someone that's just a giving, caring person. Nominate them today for the Feel the Love program. They're giving back to the community. That's why you use them. It's Classic Air Care. Nominate someone today at classicaircare.com.
Tanner Hendrickson here with the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals lost to the Baltimore Orioles last night 13-1. Game 2 of their 3-game set is tonight. 6:45 will be first pitch. Michael McGreevy will be on the mound for St. Louis. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an Icon heating and air conditioning dealer.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Happy to go out to the Callie Aaron Thompson hotline, our weekly conversation with the voice of the Blues. Chris Kerber joins us now on BK and Ferrario. Kerbs, can you feel it in the air? A little crispness in the air over the weekend?
I can feel it in the air tonight.
The Blues,
right now, the only crispness I'm feeling is when I stand next to the freezer.
Okay, well, yeah, today it doesn't feel that way. But can you feel it, Kerbs? We're less than a month away from the start of a Blues kind of real hockey game.
Well,
I know. Listen, I am getting excited. You know, Colton Parayko had his golf tournament on Monday. Saw Oscar Sundquist and Nathan Walker that were out there. You know, this is the 5th year that he's done that, guys, and he's raised money for the local Ronald McDonald House, also Children's Hospital, and Blues for Kids. The people that show up to that auction has been great. The live auction, I mean, did over 37,000 on Monday, on top of all the other great sponsors and stuff that he's had. And one of the coolest things, fellas, is that his brother Bryce, his sister Kennedy, his mom Karen, they all came in and they helped run the thing. And so it's not just Colt. I said this during the event. It's not just an athlete that's given back to his community and, you know, in the city that's kind of brought him in. It's pretty special when their whole family has kind of done the same thing. So kudos to him. And then I've heard that we've had a few more guys get into town and they're starting to skate a little bit. So I'm with you, BK. We're getting closer.
And with those guys coming in, Curbs, I mean, how much of a difference does that make when I know they do this every year, but when you start to get all those guys on the ice a month before the season truly begins, how much does that benefit things moving forward?
Well, I think it's always helpful. Now, my understanding is actually, in one sense, it's not as busy at this point in time as it has been in past years because camp is going to be smaller. Camp is shorter. There's not going to be as many players coming in. You might have had a lot more younger players already coming in, getting some extra time with some of the veteran players, things like that. Kind of my understanding now is you're not seeing as much of that because they're not coming in for camp here. So there'll be some young guys still be part of it. There'll be some, maybe a junior player or two that'll eventually be going back that'll be a part of it. But the good part and really the necessary part, kind of in my view at this point, Alex, though, is these guys are going to have to get on the ice sooner. They're going to have to get on the ice together. And then whether it be somebody like a Jamie Rivers, a Joe Vitale, a Philip McRae, coaches can't run practices, but they can get their own guys to run them and make them like a regular hockey practice. Because I just don't know that in 2 weeks, and then now the Blues have a little bit of an advantage because they're starting a few days after the regular season actually starts on, September 28th? Mm-hmm. But, man, that's not a lot of time to kind of get yourself through some of the early bumps and bruises. So we'll see how that all plays out. But I think it's important to get guys back early and get them going sooner.
I wonder what a Joe Vitale run practice looks like. Do you think it's like in Mick and Rocky where he puts a chicken on the ice and says you got to find a way to grab the chicken?
Well, at least we know he has that opportunity to do so. That's a great – you guys are going to have to ask him that question. That's a great one. I haven't actually seen him run it. I know he's done a lot with youth hockey. I've talked to some of the players. They've liked it when he's come out there. Philip McRae, who obviously his dad was Basil. Philip was drafted by the Blues. Philip runs the hockey school that's out there at Centene now, and that's going really well. It's a really cool thing that they do out there. I mean, it's literally school, guys. It's not just a hockey school. It is school, centered around hockey practices and all that as well, an accredited school. And last year a couple times, after Steve Ott left, he was on the ice with the guys. So I think somewhere in there, they're going to get some guys to start getting their practices ramped up.
Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues, joining us here on 101 ESPN. He'll join us each and every Wednesday throughout the Blues season. Kerbs, what do you think they're going to do to approach, or how do you think, rather, ask us a better way, hopefully, how do you think they're going to approach these preseason games as they get into this? Because you mentioned it, it's only 4 of them. You're going against the same teams, and you'll have 1 home, 1 away against each of them. Do you go with more of an NHL steady lineup this time around?
You're going to have to see that. I'm going to go back to one thing that Doug Armstrong said when looking back at training camp a year ago. When you had as many games as the Blues played, and you only played really 1 game against another team's top players, and you only had your close to full lineup, because it wasn't even a full lineup, in 1 game. So you didn't play any games with an actual full lineup. I get the sense that they felt that was a missed opportunity there. So my understanding was just 2 basic rules here. 1, a veteran player can't play more than 2 of them. And the second part is you got to have 8 veterans in each game. I would expect you're going to see some of the goalies getting shifted where, you see maybe Bennington with 1.5, Hofer with 1.5. A couple of the American League guys get one in there as well. And then, fellas, they're treating I think they're going to treat that last Chicago game, my guess is almost like a real game, or the team might even go up to Chicago, like a day before, kind of handle it like a regular season game would, and there. So I think we're going to enjoy this camp better. You're going to just see better play right off the bat because you've got 4 games to hone it in.
Well, and I also would imagine, too, Curbs, like there's going to be conversations between the teams, because I know Doug talked a lot about how last year with Dallas, to where they didn't realize Dallas was bringing that full NHL roster and wished they would have done it the other way. If the Blues have that mindset with Chicago, I wonder if they talked to Chicago prior to it to say, look, let's load this one up to make it like an NHL game.
Well, if you don't, then I don't know that we learned anything from last year, right? Yeah. So I would agree with you. I would expect Doug and Alex to have those kind of conversations. But again, I also think the formatting itself is going to just lend its way to there, because you get to the end of those previous preseasons, guys, and that last preseason game, you're recalling half your American League roster, right? And so is the other team. In this situation, we'll see how many games does a Justin Carbonneau get? How many games does Jiricek get? There's going to be some intense competition here, for some of these forward spots. And I think there's a couple of guys coming in that are going to have plenty of experience, that are going to be looking over their shoulders. I mean, Ross Johnston is going to play. You didn't sign him on a 3-year deal to not play him, right? So I think that you're still going to see some of those guys, Lindstein, Stenberg, all those guys come in, and they're going to have to get a chance to show some of that stuff, because they are going to be an important part of this year's. It's just, you're not going to see as much of the guys that, you would definitely be sending back to junior. The opportunities maybe to give somebody a game to do an agent a favor. Things like that, those are the kind of opportunities that are going to be far more limited than they ever have been before.
All right, Curbs, you want to play a BK game? These are Alex and T-Bone's favorite things to do on the radio.
Here's the list.
Here we go.
Have you seen the NHL 27 player ratings for the Blues yet?
I have seen them.
Oh, you have? Damn.
Seen them. Oh.
Damn. All right, well, the game is kind of ruined. Do you know who the number one guy is for the Blues?
Come on, man.
The number one, isn't that Robert Thomas?
It is. Ding, 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 ding. There's number one. Can you name the number two player for the Blues?
Oh, heck, I don't remember. Number two,
Yeah,
probably got to be Dylan Holloway.
This. No, Dylan Holloway is number 3, Curbs. Tied for third.
Right. Okay. Number 2 behind Robert Thomas, then. Are we counting Mason McTavish in this list?
We are. He is available.
Yeah.
He's a Blue.
Yeah, but I'm going off the year he had. I'm going to go number 2 on the list. I'm going to go Snuggerud.
No. That's a bummer. He's tied with Holloway for third, along with like 7 other players.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's a lot of them.
All right, fill me in. Who's number 2?
Colton Parayko, 86 overall in NHL 27.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you've got a tie for third between Dylan Holloway, Jimmy Snuggerud, Joel Hofer, Mason McTavish, Philip Broberg, and Brandon Carlo, all at 85 overall. Curbs, your thoughts?
Well, this is probably not going to shock you, and I don't mean this in any disparaging way, okay?
Curbs is going to have the same thought I did.
To anybody out there, Tetris was the last video game that I played. Now, I have played some Mario Kart with my daughters.
Great game. T-Bone, you've never played that,
Mario Kart
right?
64 or Super Nintendo?
I did.
Mario Kart's great.
I did. Okay. I did play some Madden back in the earlier days of Madden. I loved that game, by the way.
That was when it was the overhead shot of just like a little piece moving forward.
Curbs. That was quarterback club.
Yeah. But I have never. And at home, I still have a working Atari, a working Intellivision. Right,
Curbs. I say this with no disrespect. I promise you, that is the least surprising thing you've ever said on this station.
Yeah. I would kind of figure that. But by the time I was like, I had to work for a living. I've never actually owned a PlayStation, or any of those. And now we did buy what's the Wii? We bought a Wii for the girls. So I got pretty good at Just Dance there for a little while, but that's about it.
God, get out of here. Okay, this is I need to see this. Whatever challenge we have to have, I'd like to see Curbs and T-Bone do a Just Dance competition on Wii. Maybe that's a punishment for T-Bone.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Right? Wait a minute, now, fellas. Now, from a classic standpoint, because I collected these things for a while, like I've also got a lot of the old Mattel handhelds that still work, like the old Mattel footballs and baseball and hockey and stuff. Like I got some ones that would now be considered classic that are close to 40, 45 years old.
Yeah, but you took them out of the box, Curbs. Now they're not worth anything.
That's true.
You're not supposed to play with those when you get them, right?
Dude, listen, it's like you can buy a great bottle of whiskey, right? And if it just sits in a bottle and you're not sharing it with friends, right? Then all it is liquid in a bottle and doesn't do anything for you, and I'm not impressed.
That's a great point. Yes, please.
If you go out and you buy, I don't care, doesn't have to be an expensive one, but you buy your favorite and whatever it is, and you don't crack that thing open and share it with people that can appreciate it, then all you've got is a bottle of liquid, and it's useless.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Can I circle back to the Just Dance? Curbs, what's the go-to song on Just Dance for you?
Oh, man, what was the last Just Dance?
Is it Katy Perry's
Europe?
Roar?
What's the song from Europe?
Final Countdown?
I'm blanking on the name.
Final Countdown?
Yeah, Final Countdown. Final Countdown. Thank you, Tanner.
That's from Rocky.
I love Europe.
That's good, Curbs.
I thought he was talking about like a European band, like the Beatles.
No, Europe is the name of the band.
I was like, I don't know, Curbs. There's a number of them.
Also, did you see how T-Bone jumped in on a song from the 80s? T-Bone jumped in immediately.
I love that Final Countdown album from Europe.
Curbs, T-Bone's pop culture references are roughly the equivalent of yours. Now, he's 20 years younger than you, but somehow he has the same pop culture references. We aren't totally sure how that works.
Okay, whoa. by saying you just mean older, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Or because my pop culture isn't non-existent.
No,
it's just different. Like
you have more pop culture knowledge than T-Bone.
Listen, okay, you guys saw the news that Tim Curry died today?
Yeah, T-Bone had no idea who he was.
Is that true?
Okay, well, I mean, listen, and I put it out on social media, like, you know, the memories of going to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show at the Tivoli will never be the same.
Yep.
Right?
Did you dress up, Curbs?
But I mean, I never did dress up, but I did do this once. So I don't know have you guys ever been to the Rocky Horror Picture Show? You ever seen it? So
I've seen it. I've never gone to the events.
Okay.
My buddy goes to them all the time, and he dresses up. He and his wife go every single year.
I have not. My wife loves it, and we were looking at which Broadway show to go to when we were in New York recently, and that was one of the 3 final contenders. But they had the Book of Mormon, where all of the originals were coming back for like a 1-week situation, and we happened to be there that week, so you know we did that.
Yeah, you go Book of Mormon.
We went to see Josh Gad.
Yeah, actually, I'm telling you guys right now, if you like for the if you've got any Neil Diamond in you at all, when it's coming in November, Beautiful Noise is coming to the Fox. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic.
T-Bone's excited about that.
If you got a little Feel the Neil in you.
Come on. There's so many better Neil Diamond songs than Sweet Caroline.
No, that one's the best. Come
on. Listen. If we lost Dolly Parton at 80 yesterday, and we lost Tim Curry at 80 today, I just somebody please go knock on Alan Alda or Mike Farrell's door, for those that don't know, from MASH, right?
Don't check.
Yeah, and let's just make sure that those 2 dudes are okay. Because I don't need. After losing those 2 in the last 2 days, I don't want to know who the third in this triumvirate is going to be.
The tough thing, Curbs, is like now we're getting into the spot where, you know, the people that were at their peak, whether it was singing, acting, doing things that really transcended, you know, just your area in the 80s, because we started to have television the way that it was, and it became more approachable where people could afford it in different areas. Like, we're going to see more of this where we just knew more people across America and across the world. So you're going to see more people that you knew from that time period that are dying sooner
Elton John
than
is
later.
79. Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger is 79. Somebody needs to check on Pat Sajak. Somebody check on Pat. You can't lose Pat Sajak.
All right, Chris. Good talk, man.
Yeah, listen, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. I mean, you start to realize you're getting older. They're getting older. But I'll tell you what, that is the things happening in threes is a crazy phenomenon, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're saying we're gonna have a third?
Yeah, we just talked about
there's going to be a third.
It's one of Elton John, Arnold Schwarzenegger, or Pat Sajak.
Okay.
There's a third coming.
We just created a Deadpool on BK and Ferrario.
I think that's down the hall. Listen to the Riz show tomorrow morning.
Put that one in your betting app.
All right, Curbs. Enjoy yourself, man. We'll talk with you again next week. Appreciate the time as always.
All right, guys. Have an awesome week.
See you, Curbs. The same. That's Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues, here on 101 ESPN.
You should have seen T-Bone's face when he said Neil Diamond. T-Bone got way too excited.
Because I love Sweet Caroline. That would be one of my go-to karaoke
There's
songs.
so many better songs from him than Sweet Caroline.
You know, I went and saw the Hugh Jackman movie where he plays he's not Neil Diamond. He plays a guy that's like a Neil Diamond cover band. And I heard a bunch of Neil Diamond songs in it. No, none of them are better than Sweet Caroline.
I don't know, man. We're Coming to America is an incredible song. Solitary Man is an incredible song.
You're looking to the wrong guy
Forever
if you're
in Blue
looking
Jeans.
for some kind of
he's more of a Jet
here.
fan, as we learned yesterday.
Yeah, that is not my style.
Apparently I am too.
I do like Sweet Caroline. I'm not going to lie to you, but beyond that,
I hate that song. Maybe I just hate fun.
Jam.
And it's probably because they just played at the stadium every single time.
Hate all the classics.
It's the same as Country Roads. Like, why do we have to keep singing this song? There's so many out
People
there.
like it.
You think JJ hates hearing that every time he comes to bat, though, from the Tarps Off crew?
What?
Every time JJ comes to bat, the Tarps Off crew starts singing
Country Roads?
Country Roads.
Why?
Because he's from West Virginia.
God, stop it!
Or he played baseball at West Virginia. He's
actually
from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not even from West Virginia.
But it's basically the same.
Oh, yeah, because I'm sure he feels the same way about West Virginia that he does in Pennsylvania where he came from.
Pittsburgh's like right by it. It's like an hour and a half away.
It's a stupid trend, and we need to stop.
Alongside Alex and
Country
T-Bone on
Roads needs to
BK.
go away.
Junk Drawers next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Time for the junk drawer. Alex, what do you got for us today?
All right, guys, a quick one here, but we are approaching football season, which means we are approaching the BK and Ferrario Pick'em Challenge, which is very different from what the Fast Lane does. We do our own punishments, and we make them, frankly, pretty brutal.
We need to get T-Bone to do his, by the way.
Yeah, you're going to have to eat your chili dogs, and we're going to be doing our calendar because I'm going to get those calendars ready to go by January for the new year. Anyway.
But for T-Bone, I think maybe next week we do the because we're getting ready for football season next week. It'll be perfect time to kick off the football season.
Yeah. Nothing like 90 degrees and 2 chili dogs.
Oh, man.
Can I do it on a day when I don't have play-by-play after
What was it? What was it? He has to finish it before the end of the show?
I'll have to see what the...
I forget what it was. And then we're going to get the costumes. I'm going to...
Because I'm going to get cold. I'm going to throw up.
I want a calendar to come out in like the month of December if people want to get them so that they have them for the new year. So we're going to have T-Bone dress up.
Foot-long chili cheese dogs with pickle juice.
Oh, I forgot about
man. I could pick them up from Sonic before I come in and just get some little room temp chili dog. Have you guys been thinking of new punishments? No. I've been thinking of some, and I'm curious where we stand on these.
Okay.
One of them, we all remember the pregnancy simulator, right?
Yeah.
I found one that goes up even higher in terms of pain tolerance, so I want to bring that one back. I think we should bring out of the vault the pregnancy simulator.
Okay.
You like it, though, right?
I did not enjoy it.
People love pain, and I think that's perfect. So I saw this one on social media, and the first thing I thought of was T-Bone doing it, so hopefully you'll lose this one. It's called the Hungry Caterpillar Challenge.
This already sounds bad.
Has anybody read the book, The Hungry Caterpillar? Have you read it with Luca?
I have a toddler, yeah.
T-Bone, do you read it at home before you go to bed?
Yeah, it's my bedtime story.
So basically what it is the person has to dress up in the Hungry Caterpillar costume and eat all of the food from the Hungry Caterpillar book.
That's amazing.
What did he eat? I don't even remember.
Dude, it was so much.
Is it like worms or something? I'm not eating a worm.
No, it was a lot of fruits and vegetables, which is why I thought of T-Bone.
Oh, I see. He's got kiwi.
And then it was like a lollipop and a chocolate cake and like a sausage. But you got to eat all of them before the end of the show in the costume.
That's amazing.
I kind of like that one.
So this is the other one that I saw somebody do.
Apple, pear, plum, sausage, cupcake, leaf, watermelon, chocolate cake, orange, strawberry, ice cream, pickle, Swiss cheese, cherry pie, lollipop, and salami for good measure.
Oh, I don't like half of that.
Before the end of the show. Oh, yeah. So that one I think we're going to put in this one without question.
The leaf.
Now, this one doesn't really work on air, but I still think it is hilarious. So maybe it's the loser of the whole thing. It was put together a 500-piece puzzle in a dark room with just a flashlight.
So my fantasy league with my buddy up in Iowa, that was the punishment for last place in last year's. Now, he didn't fulfill it, so I think he's losing draft picks because of it. But that was our punishment, and it sounds awful to do.
So what you could do with this one is after the show one day, whoever loses goes into our office, because for people that don't know, our office, if you turn the lights off and close the door, it's pitch black. You can't see anything.
We learned today our door locks.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks a lot, whoever did that. The loser's got to stay in there
again in the future if you're the one that did that.
If you're listening, please don't lock our door. But whoever loses has to put that puzzle together and not come out of the room until the puzzle is completed.
I like it in theory. I just think that it's best for us to do stuff that we can do on air.
I do too, but
he didn't want to go in a dark room and
part of me wonders if it's great for social media, though.
You can't see anything.
Yeah, but if you're standing
it's not like the calendar's on social media.
Well, yeah, but that one's going to be something that you put out there.
On air.
No, I understand, but that's like something that you could then put on social media. All of our other punishments from the season are...
You could put that on social media.
How, though? You could. What do you do?
You probably just do like a live stream on YouTube. No, you got a light on.
Yeah, you're going to have a flashlight in there. Like, you have to have a flashlight while you're doing it. And I think it'd be funny if you had just a live stream of you doing it.
I could be wrong. I don't
just
see
MF in the whole time.
I like these other ones. I don't really see the appeal of that one. I don't get it.
Put your damn
I feel like I'm missing something.
Put your damn poll out there.
Like, it just sounds like you're doing a puzzle.
In the dark. Pitch black. Have you ever done a puzzle
without a flashlight?
Yeah, but it's hard to see a puzzle.
Do you know how big of a 500-piece puzzle is?
Yeah, we have 1,000-piece puzzles at home.
Cool. Let's do a 1,000-piece puzzle. The little tiny things where you've got to figure out where they go.
Don't get me wrong.
We didn't do a flashlight. We just did like an old time. I think it was supposed to be like an old time lamp that barely gives off, like almost like a candle, essentially.
I think the flashlight's funnier. You get one of those hats with a flashlight on it, and you have to look down.
Hold the flashlight.
Yeah.
That's even harder.
I just like how you're saying it's not that bad and you don't know how it would work, where once you do it, you'd hate
This
it.
reminds me of when he said, I think getting shot by a paintball gun wouldn't hurt that bad.
Yeah, well, I never got the paintball gun to work.
No, I think that being shot by a I've been shot by a paintball gun. It's not super fun. This one, I just don't. I think it's just time consuming.
That's the point.
Okay.
And being stuck in a dark room.
Maybe I'm wrong here.
Yeah,
By yourself.
I feel like he's like nailed the punishment, but not understanding it's a punishment.
Yeah, I don't really see the.
Like doing a puzzle in the dark doesn't sound fun. Doing a puzzle in general doesn't sound fun.
Maybe that's the best part of a
Maybe
punishment.
it's because I like puzzles.
Oh, I love puzzles.
That is such a Brandon thing.
I love puzzles, but if I got to do it in a dark room and I can't leave that, what if it's like 7 o'clock and you're still working on this puzzle?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be annoying more than anything.
Exactly, and I like anger. So those were not the human centipede one. I
like the other one's way better. The Hungry Caterpillar Challenge, that one's hilarious.
Yeah, that one was very funny. That one was for on air. So you guys need to start thinking, but I've got a few in the tank all ready to go.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. All right, coming up on the other side, what's the plan? What's the plan for the Cardinals? They can't go to a bullpen game.
They can't.
Right? We'll talk about it next here on 101 ESPN. I hope Michael McGreevy is nice and limber tonight, because he's going to need to throw a lot of pitches.
Dude, what a
way to start. Of pitches.
I'm clipping that.
Yeah, I hope Michael McGreevy's nice and limber tonight.
I don't think I realized.
Let's cut that off and send it to TMA and have him play it for Michael when he's on.
Please don't.
Michael BK yesterday said he hopes he's
I apologize.
nice and limber for later on this evening.
His last 3 starts, he's gone 102, 102, and then 90 pitches, and 90 was just because he totally fell off there at the very end. But man, they're going to need 100-plus pitches out of him tonight. And the hope has got to be that he goes 6-plus innings in those 100-plus pitches. They are in a really rough spot right now when it comes to just being able to fill some of these innings, man. I mean, you look at where they're at today. McGreevy today, Quinn Matthews either tomorrow or Friday, and then Leahy on Saturday, and then Liberatore again on Sunday. I don't feel good about any of those getting more than 5 innings. Honestly, I'm not even sure that I feel good about any of those getting through 5 innings, much less beyond. And then there's another start that I did not mention either tomorrow or Friday where it's TBD. We're not entirely sure who's going to start that game. It could be a bullpen game. It could be Cooper Jerpy comes up to start and then gives you like 3 or 4 innings, and then you kind of fill things out from there game. What do you guys think is the most likely option here on how they approach the next 3 days, today being Michael McGreevy, and then what comes after that?
I honestly have no clue. My likely option would be the bullpen game because they hope that, look, let's get 8 innings out of Michael McGreevy tonight, and then on Saturday, you've got Matthews and Leahy to where you're hopefully going to, you don't even have that on Saturday?
Matthews is going to have to start Friday, dude.
Well, I thought one of those was going to be where I thought Leahy and Matthews were going to piggyback.
They were supposed to, but then you had an injury. Now Matthews is an established starter as one of your 5.
Oh, yeah, you're bleeped. Yeah, there's no playing. There's no working this out.
Because in theory, if you had Quinn Matthews to back up Leahy on Saturday, that's basically an off day for your bullpen.
Well, that's what I was thinking. McGreevy goes 8, off day for your bullpen. If you have Leahy and Matthews.
McGreevy's going 8?
Yeah, he's got to go 8. He's got to go 8. You got to go 8. That's it. You got to go 8. Off day for your bullpen. Matthews and Leahy, off day for your bullpen. So your bullpen can have the bullpen day because they get 2 days off. This is why I said they're bleeped.
I'm not in the office trying to figure this out with Ollie Marmol and Chaim Bloom.
You have to hire a pitcher.
That's what I would think, but they keep talking about a bullpen game as if like that's the plan. I think they're going bullpen game on whatever date it is.
You can make that work.
If.
Assuming you're willing to make some big roster changes over the next week.
And I think that's what they will do. Okay. I wonder if they are going to say, all right, hopefully McGreevy gives us 6. Cross your fingers, cross your toes. And then maybe you go to Quinn again and see what you get from him, and then you go bullpen game. But I think you're right because, I mean, as Derek said yesterday, if you're willing to be kind of flexible and say, hey, we're willing to lose these guys because they're not part of the future, you can move on from Strzelecki. You could move on from Ferguson, although I don't know that they would want to since they traded for him.
If you do whatever, it's $250K in international money.
Exactly.
Wasn't going to be used anyway.
So, like, if you're going to move on you're willing to move on from those 2 guys, and maybe there's somebody I'm forgetting, you can option Graceffo technically if you had to, if you were that desperate. Okay, well, now you can bring up a wave of fresh arms. You could bring up Swanson. You could select, like, Rincon, for example. Like, you could make a couple of moves work.
If you need innings, like, you could do Jerpy for a couple of, like, 3 innings, and then you option him down, and you can bring up Bryson Motts as that lefty. Pete Hansen is an option that you could do where you bring him up for a day and then you DFA him. You could also do the same thing with Brant Thompson. You could do that with...
Or the lefty, Fleming.
Jared Schuster, Fleming.
I was thinking Josh Fleming.
Cade Winquist. Like, you've got a bunch of dudes that you can bring up to the major league roster in the event that you want to, and you could honestly just cycle through all of these guys. Hell, Team Cats, come on up, buddy. Like,
Is he still around?
Yeah, he's still a AAA technically. Come on up. Go ahead and give us an inning. We know we can DFA you. Nobody's going to pick you up based upon what just happened whenever they DFA'd him last time around. I think you can make it work. You just have to be willing to DFA these guys, play the roster manipulation game, and it's going to be a big churn over the next 3 to 5 games. If that's the plan, I think tomorrow should be the bullpen game because you'll come off of hopefully McGreevy giving you 5 or 6. Tomorrow you can just go with the dudes that are already here. Like, hey, Strzelecki, Ferguson, Fernandez, I know you just did this.
Ugh.
Here we go. We're doing it again, boys.
God, that's going to be brutal.
Yeah. Maybe you call up Jerpy, you send down Graceffo for that game, and Jerpy starts. Those guys go after him, and so you get like 3 out of Jerpy and then 2 apiece from Strzelecki, Ferguson, and Fernandez, and then you see where things are at the end of the day. And then you're DFAing Ferguson and Strzelecki after that game. You option Jerpy down, you option Fernandez down, and now you've got 4 new bullpen arms starting on Friday that allow you to get through the weekend. And now your main guys have not really been used much over the last few days. So you should be at that point good to go because you've also got an off day on Monday. But that will require a ton of roster manipulation, the likes of which, frankly, we haven't seen all year long. So it would require them to maneuver the roster in a way that we just haven't seen yet.
And you got to, and it's tough to do because you've got that 15-day limit if you send a guy down as well, right? Like that's where it gets even tougher of, like even if you option Graceffo, your hope is to bring him back at some point. Well, you got to wait 15 days unless there's an injury. We can't plan on a injury, and it's why they almost have to do it in kind of small increments, right? They probably have to limit it to about 2 guys would be my guess as to how much you're going to be willing to churn the bullpen. Now, to be fair, they only have about 2 spots that they can really churn through because you don't want to like send Soriano down. He can't go through or he'd have to go on waivers. They're not going to do that. But I mean, that's why I would think it'd almost be simpler to just go out there and say, let's sign a mercenary, right? Let's go sign a Miles
mercenary body.
Sorry, I forgot we didn't like that adjective.
We're not using that one.
A warm body.
A warm body, an arm. That's what we're saying.
A body, as BK would say.
We're giving a man salary for a week.
Yeah, that's why I would think that would just be easier, right? You do that with Michaelis, do that with Littell. I mean, insert the name that you want to do that with. I feel like that would be easier. Honestly, I'd even be willing to say that I wonder if they would do that with Fleming. I think if you can by an extra day by starting Matthews on, I don't know, I get my days confused, on Thursday. Is that right?
Today's
tomorrow.
Wednesday.
I know, but
So
I'm trying to run through the rotation in my head.
We do not currently have an option for Thursday or Friday.
Thursday.
Matthews would be fine to throw either of those days.
I think if you throw Matthews Thursday, it would allow it to set up for the lefty to come up Fleming on Friday to start, because I believe he would need one more day. So I wonder if that's kind of how they view it. Okay, come up here, do the Schuster thing, start that game, hopefully give us like 4 innings, and then we can turn it to the bullpen. And then it's only one arm compared to trying to kind of manipulate this through 2 or 3.
I'll ask you a quick follow-up on this, and then we'll get to the other side. How would you guys feel if it is Jerpy? Like, would you be excited if they announce, hey, Cooper Jerpy's going to start the game on Friday for us?
I don't know if excited is the right word. I'm intrigued. Like, I'll be curious to see what it looks like. I'm also hesitant. It's like, I don't know if I'd be throwing this guy into this spot that's coming off of an injury as long as he's had and still working his way up. I also just feel like that's a part of a bullpen game because you're only going to probably get, 2 to 3 innings out of him? They're not going to go very long with him. So
he's at 75 pitches right now.
I would just look at it as a bullpen game, and you just get to see what it looks like.
I mean, I would be excited.
Yeah.
He has 15 innings at AAA. He has 21 strikeouts so far. Now, don't look at the walk number. 14 walks in 15 innings.
Matthews.
Worse, but yeah. It's Bryson Motts from earlier this year, but with a lot more strikeouts, which plays.
75 pitches might be 2 innings.
Yeah.
He's giving up a 350 on base, despite a 150 batting average.
That'll get better when he gets
that's
up here.
Blake Snell-esque, T-Bone.
Yeah, different, though. Not as sexy, but...
I mean, a 545 OPS against.
At least we used the word esque in there.
Yeah, again, everybody seems to lose the presence of the esque.
You didn't say it with her. You said it was
I did.
Snell.
The only thing that I would say about if they called up Jerpy to do it, to make that spot start, is I would find it intriguing because he is one of their pitching prospects. He's interesting. I find him to be more of a bullpen arm profile-wise, but I'm okay with trying it as a starter. The thing that I would ask, the only thing that would concern me is, are you stunting his development? Because my question would be,
how?
My question would be, is this out of desperation or is this what's best for the player? You know, because like to me, he's still.
Both?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I wonder because based on the way they've talked, it sounded like he was never part of the plans to be up here at all this season. It was to recover from his injury and just get innings down in the minor leagues. I don't want to make a desperation move to go bring somebody up from the minors. I would just go out and sign a warm body, as we like to call them.
I'll push back against that a little bit. Like, why would this be a problem for him? He's 26 years old. He's already had 4 rehab starts down at AAA. His pitch count is up to 75, which is roughly where you're at right now with Kyle Leahy as well. I mean, if it's his 5th start, he's going every 5 days. It's prescribed the way that it would be down at AAA. I don't think this would be a bad thing for him to taste what it's like at the major league level. I think the expectation should be that Cooper Jerpy contributes to the major league level roster next year anyways. I mean, I could see even like bringing him up and then keeping him here if you really wanted to. Where I would have a problem with it is if they brought him up and put him in the bullpen and it's not as regimented and now you're like fluctuating the way that you're going about it. But this would still be on his every 5th day schedule. He would be starting for you. He'd give his 75 pitches and then he's out of the game the same way that he would be at Memphis. So I think it would be totally fine if they decided to go about it that way.
My point is more, I want them asking the questions, is he ready for this? And would we be willing to promote him if we had a spot and everything was healthy and this wasn't out of desperation? My fear is this is a desperation move. They don't actually think he's ready, but they're bringing him up here. And I don't know that that's better for the player. I mean, to me, like if I were just to look at his profile and they were healthy, I'd say, yeah, probably not ready to come up here and replace somebody in your rotation. has a walk issue. We saw that with Quinn. They waited till Quinn's walk issue kind of calmed down. Now, it didn't get extremely better.
I think that's just what he's going to be.
Yeah, and
for
like
both of those guys.
My thing, like if he's contributing at the major league roster, I agree with what you're saying this year for him. For me, if he's going to contribute next year, I don't know if it's as a starter, right? I don't know how. If you're on an innings limit with Leahy, well, imagine the innings limit with Jerpy.
Oh, I agree.
I think he's probably out of the bullpen next year.
I think his development's probably going to look like Leahy's did, where he starts out as a reliever for you, and then the hope is down the road he can become a starter. But he's running out of option years. At a certain point in time, you're going to need him to contribute at the major league level. So I don't think it's all that bad for him to get some feedback from major league hitters to find out, hey, how's your stuff play here? We've seen what it looks like at AAA. It's been really good. People cannot hit you hard. It's just about finding the strike zone and doing so consistently. So can you repeat that at the major league level, and do guys have really uncomfortable at-bats? And if so, that could also inform their offseason of not needing to get that left-handed reliever that would otherwise be in the position that you're asking Cooper Jerpy to be. So as long as they're not asking him to do something foreign to him, where he's coming out of the bullpen and he's going for only 1 or 2 innings, like that I do not think would be good. That would be out of desperation. If they're starting him and maybe they piggyback, like if they decided to call up Cooper Jerpy to be one part of the piggyback, and then the second portion of that game, they've got Brant Thompson, the right-handed pitcher that comes up, and he gives you 3 innings. So you get through 6 with those 2 pitchers giving you those innings. I think that makes some sense. I'd be cool with that. And honestly, I think that would be a more appealing way to go about it than signing a Miles Michaelis or going out there and signing one of these other guys. It would just require you to be willing to do that from a roster manipulation standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I think appealing's the right word. I kind of lean more towards Tanner in terms of I'd just be hesitant to do it right now in this position. I think if I'm bringing up Jerpy, I'd wait until, you get into the latter portion of September and maybe just see it for 1 or 2 starts. I don't know if I want to bring him up in a spot where I know I need somebody to come in and give us a lot of innings, and it just doesn't feel like the right time to do it with a Cooper Jerpy.
Somebody said, is he already on the trip or on the 40-man? Sure is. Yeah.
He's been on it for like 2 years.
He's on the 40-man, and they're continuing to maintain him on that along with TK Roby. He's just been rehabbing. He's just been trying to get himself back. So this is not a situation where you've got to play the long game. Like Drangelo Sanger, that's not a guy that's an option. There's no reason to call him up.
Molina, not an option. No reason
There's
to call
no real
him
reason to. Yeah, you're not forced to put him on the 40-man this offseason. Hell, Brant Thompson, they may view it the same way, where they're like, no real reason for us to do that. I don't think he's a legit prospect, though. So I don't think you'd lose him via a DFA situation, but maybe they do, and that's minor league pitching depth that they don't want to lose just yet. That's fine. There are certain guys, though, that you can go ahead and, like Josh Fleming. He was signed to do this. He's signed to help you out in this exact moment in time where you're desperate for innings. So they can get through it. It's just probably not going to be super pretty. So go out there and get limbered up tonight, Michael McGreevy, because they're going to need you. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we are going to get into the BK and Ferrario Rewind. But next, time for some fantasy football advice with BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. How are you handling the quarterback position in fantasy football this year? Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Is there any guy that you're targeting? Like, you're going into drafts, Alex, and you're saying to yourself, I want to land this specific quarterback to be on my fantasy team this year.
I always try and target Josh Allen, but I never want to take him in the first 2 rounds. So then there's always that person that decides to take him in like the first round or in the second round, and that's too early for me. This year, I told myself, because you always get antsy. When everyone around you takes a quarterback and you're like, oh man, they're all going to be gone. I got to go get somebody. And you waste the pick. I forced myself to wait this year. So I kind of looked at it as I liked the idea of targeting Dak Prescott, because I think that offense is going to be heightened. I think that offense is going to throw a lot of touchdowns, and that means Dak Prescott. Now, he doesn't have the rushing ability, or at least doesn't utilize it as much. He was one, though, that I looked at this year, and I said, I'd like to get him if I can late in the draft.
Yeah, he's the guy I feel like I always leave a draft where, like, I don't mean to do it, and then I always look at my roster and go, wait a minute, I ended up with Dak on my team. I don't typically have much of a strategy for quarterbacks, which sounds kind of bad. I'm more focused on locking down the wide receiver, running back, and tight end. And then it's more for me of, okay, looking at how the draft is played out. If I see a bunch of people going on a run for quarterbacks, I'm still okay with settling more for those like second-tier guys like Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams. You know, I'm okay with settling like Trevor Lawrence. Those guys, I don't typically try and jump the gun and say, I want to go after Lamar or I want to go after Josh Allen, because like the point difference between them and like those mid-tier guys is what, 5 points? Well, I'll make up for that by getting another legitimate weapon that'll help me at running back or wide receiver.
Yeah, you look at where some of these guys are going, like Josh Allen, you mentioned it, Alex. Where he's going, you can get Javonte Williams. I'll just take Javonte Williams.
Yep. Agreed.
I would just rather have him. Where Drake May is going right now, some of the wide receivers in that range are Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, Christian Watson, DJ Moore. I think I'd rather have those receivers in that range. And then you start to get into the range that I'm particularly interested in, which is Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, Jaden Daniels. Those 3 quarterbacks are around the 5th or 6th round. That's when you get into like Ramondre Stevenson, Jalen Waddle, J.K. Dobbins. These are the running backs that are there. Wide receivers are Marvin Harrison Jr., Carnell Tate, Brian Thomas Jr., Cortland Sutton. Those are the quarterbacks that I want. I'm starting to look at it right around that range. Now, if they go beforehand, it's not the end of the world to me, but the guy that I really want this year is Joe Burrow. I would love to have Joe Burrow on as many rosters as I can. I just think he's going to have a monster season. I think they have a much better offensive line. I think that things are stabilizing on that side of the football. The hope is that they'll be healthy on offense, and their defense is still awful. Like, I still don't think they're going to be very good as a defensive unit, which means they've got a bunch of shootouts, and that's going to force him to throw the ball a bunch of times. And we've seen when that guy is healthy and on the field, he's going to post some big numbers. So if I'm able to get him roughly around the same range as, you know, some of these kind of washed up running backs, yeah, I'll go ahead and go that direction.
Yeah. I always ruin it because I tell myself going in, don't draft a quarterback early, don't draft a quarterback early, and you get antsy. So it's like you have to just remind yourself. But if I can exit a draft with like a Joe Burrow, a Trevor Lawrence, a Brock Purdy, a Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, if I can get that in like the 6th round, I feel really good because I've spent the first 5 getting some true weapons that'll help you in these certain areas. And this is impactful like on it's just a flex league, not a super flex, because then they start going super early.
If you're super flex with 2 quarterbacks,
start drafting them early.
Yeah.
First round.
That's where it's different. If you're in a super flex league, which I love, we did that for 1 year. I was the only guy that's really supported the coach, I think. I loved it.
I enjoy super flex.
Because the quarterback's most valuable position, so I loved it, but that changes the draft strategy. That if you're doing that,
you're taking them in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, first, second, third round, like focus on quarterback and try and get your 2.
Yeah, I went the other direction, and it went poorly for me that year. I tried. I was like, okay, you guys all take your quarterbacks. I'll go ahead and take the running, like the number 1 pick in most fantasy drafts. I'll go ahead and take him now at number 8, and then I'll get my quarterbacks on the other. Yeah, it went really. I
think I had like Mahomes and Dak, and it was like gold. I ended up winning the league that year.
So the other position where you typically only start 1 player at is tight end. How many tight ends are you guys excited to draft this season?
2.
Forget comfortable with. Excited to draft.
None.
McBride
and Bowers probably would be the 2.
Colston Loveland?
I'm iffy on. I think I'd rather go the other positions.
For me. is the only one that I'm like truly excited about, and that's just because he's going to get a huge workload.
That's why, but I think Bowers is that. Even if you don't like the quarterback, because Genty's going to be hurt early on, and they really have no other pieces you're throwing to, Bowers is going to be so heavily involved.
Yeah, I get that one. Like, I would understand. Like, he would be like fringe for me. But for me, it's truly McBride. This is the position where I always screw up. Because you mentioned kind of panicking when you see quarterbacks running off the board. This is what happens a lot in my leagues, where it is, hey, the first 2 tight ends go off the board, and everybody kind of panics and go, whoa, I don't want to end up with, like, Dalton Kincaid. So everybody starts drafting tight ends, and that's where I make the mistake. Because if we're being honest, like 3 through, 12? 3 through 14? It's not that much different for those guys.
I would disagree with that a little bit. I think 3 to 5 has upside. 3 to 5 is Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren, and Tucker Kraft. I think those guys can be difference makers at the position. Now, Kraft has a significant injury he's coming back from, so I don't know where he's going to be health-wise. But if he's right, that guy's a touchdown machine when he's on the football field. And Warren and Loveland are young, explosive, and like key contributors for their respective passing games. Dallas Goedert, I got no idea, dude. There are games where he legitimately gets 1 or 2 targets. Harold Fannin, I don't trust the quarterback situation in Cleveland. Kyle Pitts, I can't trust that he's going to be on the field. Same thing is true for George Kittle and Mark Andrews and Sam Laporta, and Travis Kelce's 100 years old. I like him. You're going to get good production out of him, but he's just old at this point. So those guys, I think the upside is so capped compared to what you could get from 3 to 5. But once you get to 6 for me, that's where I would have your range, T-Bone. If you miss out on the top 5 tight ends this year, I'm good waiting.
That's how I
don't see much of a difference between getting Jake Ferguson in, the 10th or 12th round or getting Dallas Goedert in the 7th round. I would just rather wait at that point.
Yeah, I just that's the one that I never really worry about because I just always prioritize running back, wide receiver, and quarterback, and the tight end is just a lucky get if I find somebody. Frankly, in the past, I've just gone through the waiver wire with tight ends to where it's, you start with somebody the first 6 weeks, injuries take place. Like 2 years ago, I got Isaiah Likely on the waiver wire, and it helped me, win 4 or 5 extra games. So, like, I got Goddard this year in the 9th round, and I was ecstatic because it's like it's a touchdown machine if he's there and they're throwing to him. I just don't care about that one as much.
I think I'm going to try to go tight end early this year.
Well, there's the strategy, so I'll take that from you.
I mean, you look at where these guys are going. I can get Trey McBride in the 5th, Brock Bowers in the 5th, or I can go Colston Loveland in the 6th.
I had somebody draft Brock Bowers in the 2nd round in our draft, and that was freaking wild.
Yeah.
Reach.
I
Tell me about it.
Maybe it's just from my experience. I would prefer to wait because, like, I did that one year where I said, okay, I'm looking at the receivers. I would prefer, I think it was Kelce at that time. I would prefer Kelce because he can kind of serve as a receiver for me. He's one of the top 3 tight ends, and there's only 3 tight ends you like, or 5 in this case, depending on how you view it. And then I did it, and then the production wasn't there. And to me, it's just, I don't think the ceiling is as high as it should be for me to try and go early with these guys. I'm just going to wait it out. I'll just kind of see who I end up with.
Do you guys like Tucker Kraft or Tyler Warren better? I'm asking for a reason, but just out of curiosity, for fantasy football, who do you prefer?
Like for this season, I'd rather go Tyler Warren.
Yeah, just because of the injury with Kraft.
Okay. So let's go with Tyler Warren as the example here. Would you rather have Tyler Warren or the wide receiver that I'm about to mention? Quentin Johnston. LA Chargers number 2 wide receiver.
I'd probably have Tyler Warren over him.
Probably Warren, depending on what the first couple rounds look like.
Tyler Warren or Jordan Addison?
I think I'd go Addison because he's going to be the number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tyler Warren or Jacoby Myers?
Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren or Jaden Reed?
Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren or Xavier Worthy?
Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren or the running back that I'm about to mention here? Rico Dowdle?
Tyler Warren.
J.K. Dobbins?
Tyler Warren.
Definitely Warren.
Chuba Hubbard?
Tyler Warren.
Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt?
I would go. I had Crosby.
I think
Warren.
Yeah, but I know he's the number 1.
Kyle Monangai. Those are the wide receivers and running backs going around the range of Tyler Warren and Tucker Kraft. You could get the Seattle defense in that range. You could get Trevor Lawrence or Jalen Hurts in that range. Like, there's just not great options. So that's why I think that's kind of where I'm looking at either Kraft or Warren. I feel pretty comfortable with them there.
And that's why I said it kind of depends where your team's at, right? Like if you're desperate for a receiver because you went more running back heavy early, all right, I might convince myself of one of those receivers. Mostly Addison. Addison would be the one that I would circle.
That's the one that I kind of looked at as
And
he's
then,
going to be number
honestly,
2.
I would maybe even, if you haven't gone quarterback yet, I would maybe listen on Lawrence because, again, I don't find the drop-off after him, after Warren, for example, that's significant. And most of the time, your quarterback should hopefully put up more points than your tight end.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Coming up on the other side, I want to get back to college football because the SEC is doing something that might legitimately push back against LSU in a meaningful way. Is Lane Kiffin crazy enough to push back against him, though? We'll talk about it next here on 101 ESPN.
Only 5 days left to jump in on the Feel the Love program over at Classic Air Care, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electricity. For those that may not know, Feel the Love program, they do it every single year. They partner up with Lennox to where they give a deserving member of our community a brand new heating or cooling system at no cost. And specifically, if it's somebody you know that's always putting others first, whether it's a local hero, a military vet, a teacher, a first responder, or maybe it's just a neighbor who's always helping out, you can nominate them today over at Classic Air Care, and it goes up until August 31st. And again, if they're selected, win a free heating and cooling system at no cost. It's one of the many reasons why Classic Air Care has been around making people comfortable since 1926. When it comes to their customer service, and when it comes to their technicians who have been doing this for 30 plus years, they make sure that you and your family are always comfortable with something as important as your HVAC system. I've been using them since 2016. My dad's had them since the 90s. It's a company that I always feel good about that's going to take care of an older unit or maybe a brand new one that I had installed to last whatever time I need in that home. Call them today, schedule online, nominate that person for the Feel the Love at classicaircare.com.
Tanner Hendrickson here with the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals blown out yesterday by the Baltimore Orioles 13-1. Game 2 of their 3-game set is tonight, 6:45 first pitch. Michael McGreevy will be on the mound for St. Louis. The Sports Update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
We've got an update on the SEC. They have officially approved the penalties and the legislation banning NFL players from their conference by a final of a 15-0 vote. Now, you may be saying, BK, that doesn't make sense. There's 16 teams in the SEC. Why was it just 15-0? LSU decided to abstain from voting.
Oh, Lane.
This is amazing.
Wait. They just didn't vote, or they voted no?
They abstained. They said, we're not voting. We're not involved. Yeah. My guess, Lane Kiffin went to the athletic director and said,
vote.
Don't you dare vote. We're going to sue the conference. And if we vote in favor of this, that is not going to go well for us suing the conference.
Genius.
That's what's going to happen here, right?
Yeah.
If they didn't vote, yeah,
One
probably.
of its member institutions is going to sue the conference to get NFL players to play.
Because they know that all you
Chef's
got to
kiss.
do is sue them, and they'll cave.
I kind of like the infighting in the SEC.
I love it, man. Good for Lane. I just like, you don't make rules in the NCAA, then
Well, this is
abide
the
by them.
NCAA. It's the SEC.
Great, but there's still no rules.
Well, we'll see. I guess
They're
we'll
trying.
find out.
Well,
Yeah.
they're creating their own rules. That seems like you could take a lawsuit to
What
it.
would be great is if the SEC, for their whole, we might separate, we can do this by ourselves, tries it by themselves, and then loses to one of their members in their conference.
Be amazing.
Chef's kiss. And especially that it's Lane, the guy that the conference is not a fan of.
I love it.
Yeah, it should be fun to watch.
I love drama.
You know, the Mizzou football season starts next week.
All right.
You think Drink's going to pull one in later?
We're literally 8 days away from the start of the SEC season, and we truly do not know who's on the roster or who's eligible or who could potentially be on the roster when we play these
What do you think
games.
it's going to say in the LSU media guide? Maybe eligible.
Can you imagine if he just says, you know what, screw it, put him on the roster?
I love it.
They play Clemson next Saturday.
Like,
It's not as though they start with a small game. They've got Clemson on their schedule, LSU does, next Saturday on ABC. It's crazy,
Chaos, man. And I prefer chaos.
On September 19th, they travel to Ole Miss, and the following week they take on Texas A&M at home. They have 3 of their first 4 games. Their first month is loaded.
I hope he suits up for the Ole Miss game.
That'd be amazing.
That's Ole Miss alum.
2 former Ole Miss
with
players.
legs. Yes. That's the type of chaos we all need in college football.
That game is one of the most... Oh, my God. Tickets are, quote, as low as $600.
Holy crap.
Oh, my
All for you to
God.
go chant F.U. Lane.
Yeah, seriously. I'd just do that from my television.
Yeah, you can sit really nice row 42 upper level section tickets for $591.
That'll look like ants running around. But
Yeah.
for $600, I was there. I yelled, "You suck, Lane."
That's the most watched game of the year, right?
Yeah.
Lane going back to Ole Miss.
It's got to be up there.
Yeah.
I can't imagine of another one outside. Like
Texas,
you're gonna get some
Ohio
of your
State.
classics. Yeah,
I don't know. Lane
that one's
going back
good.
there is going to
But
be
This
big.
is like a true rivalry. You've got the storyline. Like I don't think anything can
Yeah,
top
this is hate watching. This is, I want to see Lane lose.
Do you think nationally it rates the same way as
think
Texas
so.
versus Ohio State, though? I mean,
think-
those are 2 national title contenders.
Yeah, but man, I just think Lane is such a hated individual that I think people
He's
gravitate towards
I hate
that.
to
Talking
say
about
this.
2 top 5 teams, though.
Yeah, but I think Lane, and tell me if you disagree with this, I think he might be the face of college football. For the whole thing, the song and dance that occurred last year with the LSU Ole Miss. I mean, it was the biggest storyline, not the
Cincinnati's everywhere,
playoff
though, right
conversation.
now.
Arch Manning is the starting quarterback for Texas.
I get it, but I think Lane's a bigger story, man. I think Lane is the face of college football, and I think him going back to his old stomping grounds, it's like the one time you're probably going to watch Ole Miss this year. I think it will rate bigger than Ohio State and Texas because we just saw it last year. I think this is new. This is right. This is true blood, anger. Like I think that will be the most watched game of the year.
Interesting. All right, last thing that I wanted to get to
T-Bone's
here,
hot
college
take.
football wise. You guys hear the prediction that was made yesterday? This comes from the Crane and Cone podcast about Mizzou's record in 2026.
Arkansas Pine Bluff, you're going to murder them. Kansas,
Maybe.
Big win in Lawrence. Troy at home, it's a dub. Mississippi State in Starkville, you're going to win starting 4-0. Everybody's feeling good, but then it's going to fall off. You're going to lose to Florida at home. You're going to lose to A&M at home. You're going to go to Ole Miss and lose. You're going to get a bye week to breathe. Then you're going to go to Arkansas, and you're not going to breathe. They're going to beat you. You're going to lose to Texas. You're going to lose to Georgia on the road. You're going to beat Kentucky at home. Then you're going to lose to Oklahoma, last game of the regular season. Missouri goes 5-7. I don't love it. I kind of hate it. Tell me what you think.
Crane and Cone with their Missouri prediction.
like it.
Did you have fun with that schedule outcome there, Brandon?
I think that's very possible. I wouldn't predict it that way. I think they'll go 7-5. That's just kind of my,
Drink can't win the big game still, man.
I mean, if that happens this year, it will be a huge disappointment. And it will say that they missed on their quarterback. Because the way that you go 5-7 is probably the defense doesn't work out and the quarterback isn't as good as they were hoping. Mm-hmm. And if those two things happen, I mean, given the schedule, you've got 4 not only likely losses, like definite losses in this scenario. Maybe even 5.
We'll all want Bo Prabula back after this
And then
year.
you just lose a couple of games, like Mississippi, 2 of Mississippi State, Kansas, Florida, and Kentucky flip the other direction and they become losses, and boom, you're at 5-7.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, it would be a huge disappointment. I can see it in the range of outcomes, but it's to what you're saying. It's about Simmons and the defense. And Simmons, I mean, everything you've read about him out of camp is, hey, turnover prone. And that would be the thing that could really cost them. Even though Bo was a guy that, there wasn't much upside with his arm, at least he took care of the football, right? And you could run the ball with Ahmad Hardy. If Simmons has a turnover problem, that's how you end up in a spot where you lose a couple games that you shouldn't, and you don't have a chance against the ones that are going to be tough anyways.
That's T-Bone. He's Alex. I'm BK. The Rewind is next. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. If you guys missed anything from today's show, be sure to check it out on the podcast page. 101ESPN.com and the free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it. That's all sponsored by
Ferrario Company.
Had a great convo earlier today with Chris Kerber. Also talked a little bit about Matthew Liberatore's start from yesterday. Nolan Gorman's strikeouts, and there were 3 of them. Also, a lot of college football. Rainiel Rodriguez. T-Bone explained why he, at first, would not accept a career similar to Anthony Rizzo, but why eventually he's willing to go ahead and hit that button to lock it in.
We always
possible.
convince T-Bone.
All of that on the podcast page and the free 101 ESPN app, which is sponsored by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Alex, coming up today on the Fast Lane, they'll have a shot to score a pair of tickets to the Blues home opener against the San Jose Sharks. You can find the latest edition of the Last Minute Blues podcast with one Oscar Sundquist. That's over on youtube.com/101ESPN-STL. And coming up later on this afternoon, T-Bone and I will be going over to record a new edition of the Redbird Report. So if you want to hear a little bit more on your St. Louis Cardinals as they're going through quite a free fall right now, we will have our full extended thoughts, 1 hour on the St. Louis Cardinals coming up later on this afternoon. Cardinals back in action this evening. Michael McGreevy, we're going to need you, big boy.
Need 8 from you today.
Honestly, 9. 9 would be good. If they get 9 out of him, they're fine.
How badass would it be if Michael just walked into the clubhouse and says, boys, take the day off. I've got it today.
It would be amazing.
It'd be of Legends lore. Like, that used to be like what Carp and Wayne would go, guys, off day today.
That's what Grant Fuhr used to do.
9.
You used to tell him, be like, I gave up 1. You get me this game back, and I won't give up another one the rest of the night. Yeah.
How you feeling going in?
Not good. Not good, Brandon. I think McGreevy has a little bit of a combustion at some point, and I think this game is done by the 6th inning. I'll say 7-3 final score.
Yikes.
Yeah.
It's basically a pick 'em in Vegas. Over under at 8.5.
I'll take over.
I totally would take the over.
I'll say McGreevy does his job, 6 innings. I'll say 4 earned. Cardinals win tonight 5-4.
Come on, man. That bullpen ain't holding on to a 5-4 win.
I'll say McGreevy does his job. He gives them 6 innings. Unfortunately, the Cardinals do take the loss tonight. They go to some of their lesser bullpen arms, and it's because their offense didn't get it done. I'm a little worried about, not worried about long term, but like where they're at right now, the offense is not in a great spot currently. You don't have a ton of depth to it. So I'll say they end up losing this one by a final score of 6-3. We will break it all down for you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. For Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Appreciate you all tuning in. The Fast Lane is next here on 101 ESPN. I hope Michael McGreevy is nice and limber tonight.